What's up, y'all? Kofi Kingston here, and I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks, depending on what that drink is, preferably non-alcoholic, you know?
How's it going? Celtic Warrior Shane.
Soda.
I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Maple syrup.
Fella.
I would never have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Welcome to episode 1 of Wrestling on the Rocks. That's right. This is Wrestling on the Rocks, where every show is our first show, because we don't move on to our second show until we get through the first, and we have not gotten the first one right just yet. We are on the cusp of failing yet again. I am at Ref Marsh. We are WOTR, the show. We got, as always, on Thursdays, always, most always, we got, let's start with Amanda Jane. Amanda, say what's up.
Hey, what's up? How you guys doing?
And as usual, since day one-ish, we've got Klump. Klump, go ahead and say what's up.
Howdy, my name's Klump. Yeah, I'm here. I'm covered in dirt.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
I like how you say, like, since day one, and it's like, no, I've missed the most.
What? No, Kev took
You get
3 months
first
off.
one.
4 months off.
That is... I guess I gotta, like, stack up, so I gotta stack up some PTO here to use.
Yeah, that's why I told you before. I was like, hey, if you want to take a couple months here, we got a big crew now. We got a lot of people who like coming to hang out and have a drink with us. We've made enough friends that if you needed to take some time to dig some holes.
How did we make friends?
Drinking.
Yeah.
They
I
don't know
don't
better.
drink.
No, they do.
Well,
You
yeah.
know what I mean?
Fair.
They
Or
make
you-
bad
you
choices
could-
when they're drunk, i.e. be
Yeah.
our friends.
Or they like coffee, that,
Fair.
I don't know, has creamer that's not expired. I don't know.
Right.
Some people live that life.
It's no longer expired.
I
Nothing
No
know.
about-
longer expired. Well, then let's
Yeah,
get right into it. Klump, what's in your glass?
Coffee. Let's confirm that the creamer's not expired.
Uh-oh.
Tepid. Okay, that's not great, but it's there.
I mean, did you confirm by drinking or reading?
No, I took a sip. It's tepid. It's not hot. It's not cold. It's just sad. But it's there.
Appear to have...
Is there happy coffee?
All coffee makes me happy. Amanda, what's in your glass?
Well, since you guys know, it's not our not sponsored Sonic, because it's like 40 miles away from where I am right now. So I have a lovely Coke with no ice. But I did take a shot of, what was it? I had a shot of Jameson before I got into this mode. So.
Pre-gamed it. Love it.
Mhm.
I am having Prapa number 12 because I've promised myself I wouldn't have a bunch of open bottles, so I have to finish a bottle before I can have the next. Next on the list is Woodford, so we'll be talking about that. But
Ooh, Woodford, good.
it's all good, though. You guys drinking sodas, drinking coffee. It's not about what you're drinking. It's about who you're drinking with. And we are your drinking buddies, your wrestling buddies. That's what we're here to do. Check out our WrestlingOnTheRocks.com for all of our links and our store. We do have new shirts up. Man, Klump, did you get that hole filled up? Or is
Yeah,
it just filled
pretty
up
much.
enough? Just enough?
Yeah, like I mean, it's good. They're like, they have their spots that they dig, and it's okay, cool. But like,
All right.
they got a new spot. I'm just like, man, fuck you guys.
All right. All right. Let's see. Let's just talk a couple things news, I suppose, and then we'll talk about the shows. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Hang? Just
Yeah.
a hang? A couple of drinks over here at the dive bar of the IWC, I say.
Nice.
One thing that came up was that right now it's still in the rumor mill area, but there is rumored that WWE is going to start traveling again and getting audiences starting on July 16th.
Huh.
Which is that's within a couple weeks of when AEW announced the audience traveling as well, I believe, because I thought late June, early July, so pretty close together. So I'm assuming they're looking at the same data. That's
a rumor from WWE on comic book, right? Wasn't that where the article was from?
I didn't see if it was comicbook.com. They've got a pretty good relationship with them,
So
so it could be.
that's why I sent it to you.
Yeah. I just don't. I don't like saying it's an announcement unless it's truly an announcement. But it's a rumor from a good source, comicbook.com. So I don't know. I guess I didn't. We didn't talk much about the idea of AEW starting to travel, other than just we hope they keep doing it safe. I mean, they've been doing seemingly okay. I mean, it's Florida, so it's hard to know if you're doing good or not in Florida.
Florida.
But
I don't know what's worse,
you know what I mean?
Delaware or Florida.
Yeah. Well, when it comes to COVID, Florida's worse on that. So I don't know if we can. I mean, I assume things are going all right. I don't know. That's why we don't talk about that much. But what do you guys think about both these companies apparently going to be traveling by the heart of the summer? We'll start with Klump. What do you think?
I think it'd be cool. We're getting more and more word that as people are vaccinated, it's okay. So I think it'll be cool. I'm excited to see fans in the crowd. So heck yeah. Of course, want to do it safely. I mean, the only hesitance I really have with it is more just that I don't know. I feel like if it goes well, it's not as much for the efforts being put on by companies when they've pushed it out, but it's so much that it's finally passed because we've had, frankly, a fair amount of just ups and downs with this, with performers, with companies.
That's true. I know my concern about any of these, of anyone opening up the way that they have been, is just when you see stuff, especially locally, and you see places that do open up, it appears to be a far more aggressive group of people gathering. You know what I mean? Like ever since our city opened up downtown, there's been more fights and police calls than ever before in the history of downtown, because the people who are a little more concerned or cautious or worried,
still being cautious and concerned.
They're still being cautious and concerned, and kind of they'll see a big group and say maybe not. But the people who are kind of hyper aggressive about their stance on things, then they're getting in these crowded areas and tensions rise quick when there's alcohol involved. And I don't think that wrestling is known for sober fans. So
well, and
I'm just I'm worried from that aspect. I'm like, are we basically putting a current bar inside of a wrestling audience?
I agree with that. I think also, like, kind of on that same note, building, it's those of us that are concerned, I think, aren't going to be like the most eager to jump in and go. And I feel like it's going to be the people who've more or less been itching to get out. And I'm not going to attack them too hard, but like, I don't think it's the people who've been really ardently trying to do better in this, So, and back as a wrestling fan, as a fan of the industry, I'm scared because the vaccine for COVID is meant to reduce your risk, but it's not a guarantee. There have been people who've been vaccinated who've caught COVID again after. I'm worried it's going to be the person who's just been ripping and roaring to get out of their house because they feel like they've been locked down, going out there, who is sick, getting people sick, and then wrestling's back in the news for the worst reason again.
Yeah, I mean, even we've been seeing clips going around. Even a few of them went around today from a baseball game. Dude goes up and decks another guy and knocks him clean out. Like, I've just been seeing a lot more fighting videos lately, and I think part of it is just that there's that mentality. But I mean, I guess outside of that, my concern is the idiots going, not the idea of the companies trying to open up. You know what I mean? It's so funny.
Yeah.
Amanda, what do you think about all this?
Well, I'm kind of like excited about it. I think that it's time, just because we're seeing everyone fight. And my take on it is, when you lock people up in a cage for over a year, what do you expect? It's going to be just anarchy, because people haven't, been engaging in, any kind of social type of interaction with a lot of people, or people in general. So that's a big thing, because I can say that being locked up for over a year, my short-term memory was horrible when I started back working. And then now it's getting better, but still, it's like when you're going a year almost and not doing anything, you go crazy or things happen. But my question is, since AEW is not going to be a Daily's Place, does that mean that the live audience is going to sit there through everything? Dark Elevation, Dark? And because that's if you're on the East Coast, man, either you let them in early and then you run, Dynamite, but I don't get how that's gonna go.
That's just so
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Do people want to show up for a 9-hour TV taping?
I don't. That's horrible. I mean, I can bear. Most people can't even watch it right now on the on YouTube and do that. But I mean, and I don't think that AEW is in the position to run it like a house show. So, because I don't think they'd have the draw.
Yeah.
I think this. I think they keep doing likely Elevation and Dark the same, where it's the paid audience up front. You just don't cut to the main audience, because they've been doing that a ton. I mean, I haven't watched everything all the time, obviously, but I've noticed a number of episodes I have watched where they did not cut past their own staff the whole time, and either they got bad shots, they don't like it, it's not full enough, or whatever. I don't know. I'm assuming that sometimes they are recording stuff when there's not an audience there, and it's just the fucking gun club up front. So I imagine they're just going to tour with literally everyone.
Yeah.
So that way they can have their built-in audience they travel with and record anyhow.
I don't know if you noticed, but every other week Dynamite is live. So they have been on a on week, 1 week we stay home, come back the next week. So I don't know. We'll see. We will see.
Yeah, we'll see how it plays out. It's kind of neat. I saw today, CDC said something along the lines, if you're fully vaccinated, they don't think that you should be concerned about wearing a mask inside or outside anymore. I think it's probably still, I guess
It's probably still good to be cautious.
Yeah.
I would think it probably is, but I guess at the end of the day, no one's going to listen to us and change their mind on something. So do what you're going to do. The CDC made an announcement. Read about it. Make your decisions. Listen to people who are very well educated.
Unless you have a law that says you have to wear a mask in certain places.
That's the thing I'm concerned about, is the amount of people who are going to start lashing out at innocent retail employees for saying, look, the store policy is a store policy.
It's happening.
It's already happening.
Not sharing too much, but yeah, we've I've seen it. It's bullshit. It's because to me, what frustrates me the most is a lot of these people tend to be the people who seem they throw out the idea that they don't want somebody telling them what to do government wise. Well, this is a business and they're supposed to at least support businesses. This is a business, a private company saying that's awesome. No, this is our right. No, this is private property. No. And yet it's just being a child, and it's bullshit.
It's no different than no shoes, no shirt, because there's no law that says you have to wear shoes and shirt outside. But businesses say, I don't want you in here.
If anything, it looks dumber to me.
Yeah.
Than no shoes, no shirt. Because, no shoes, no shirt, I think historically the idea is it's been a thing of, kind of separating out people who are homeless or, those who may or less capable or less able to afford. This is just Karen's and Eric's. I view Eric as like the equivalent of a Karen, and yes, my name's Eric.
Oh, all right.
It's whenever I see an Eric and I'm gonna be like talking to them like this might be a thing.
This could be terrible. Yeah. It's sort of like when someone finds out I'm a fan of Andy Kaufman and they get excited and they're like, I can't wait I always get nervous. Because there are two types of Andy Kaufman fans. I'll tell you, it's been starting to thin out, and we've been getting the better end of Andy Kaufman fans for a while. But I used to wear like a Tony Clifton shirt out in public, and it was 50-50 if this conversation was going to be real fucking weird or pretty cool. So, same with like They Might Be Giants, man. I had to stop wearing my They Might Be Giants shirts because it's like,
why?
9 out of 10 times the person who comes up to talk to you about that band, real fucking weird. I wasn't the least bit surprised. I've seen them live in concert, I think 4 or 5 times. I have never seen them break that boundary of the stage. They never come off to the side. They are clearly locked inside of their bus before the music even stops playing. They do not want to interact with their fans, and it's super clear to me every time. And every time I go, no, they're in the right. They did the right thing.
Yeah.
That's support.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
But wrestling.
I usually bring something I hope to get signed, but I'm always like, there's no way. They're too smart for this.
Yeah. I notice when I wear certain wrestling shirts, especially like when I've gone to like WrestleCon and All In, Yeah, people, there's an interesting like judgment that people have.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, and it's really interesting. And I find it funny, like most of the guys are, oh yeah, she's wearing that because, the guy's good looking or whatever, or what, or whatnot. Or
Maybe.
I get,
But it's
I
fine.
get all sorts of things. Yeah. Like,
It's also fine if that's your thing. You can't tell me that most people who like women's wrestling were drawn to it because of their initial attraction to that person. So I'm going to watch them now.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Guys
You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, if they end up showing out in the ring, you go, oh, they're all so incredibly talented. That's when you really get big fandoms. But like the idea that it's all like, oh, she's only wearing that shirt because that guy's good looking, maybe. But if you're wearing an Alexa Bliss shirt, I say you shut up about it, because probably you looked at her first and said, I'm just going to watch whatever she does.
Yes.
It's such a double standard in the internet
It's a
community.
thing.
Yeah.
Hey, do we have to pretend that most of the wrestling industry is not represented by very good-looking people on either side of the gender?
I know. Seriously,
You know what I mean?
I'm not going to comment. I'm not going to go on. Don't.
I'm just saying, it's a bullshit comment for someone to give you that attitude when it's all like, yes, almost most people in the entertainment world is particularly good-looking. You know what I mean? Like,
No. My thing is when a wrestling fan says that to me, and it's a guy, and I go, well, you need deodorant, first of all. And second, maybe you want to wash your shirt next time you go to a show.
that's a good point.
Just saying.
Well,
Get
be
that
smelly.
type. Yeah.
I'd like to say it's most all fandoms, but yeah, like I can't think of a wrestling interaction where I've been like, not like, oh, please don't. Like,
Yeah.
nothing's worse than being at like, yeah, you don't help this. Not, but nothing's worse than like, I remember being at the drive-thru for like a McDonald's, and I had a Bullet Club shirt on, and it has the little patch on the shoulder.
Mhm.
And he goes, "Oh, you're a Bullet Club fan?" I'm like, "Yes." And that led to 20 minutes of him talking to me because it was kind of late and not giving me my food, which when he did give it to me was cold. And I got home and I was just like, I wanted to not watch wrestling for a while.
Yeah.
You just like throw
I
it
get
away.
that.
It's like, fuck
I
it.
get that. I'm afraid when Marty comes back. I already get it anyway. I wear it out. No one's ever said anything yet to me out in public. Most of the people actually are really supportive, like, hey, where's he wrestling at? I don't know.
Yeah.
I wish, but
Well,
that's it. Yeah.
we'll
It's
see how it
controversy over
goes.
there.
We'll see how it is and when they're traveling. I know that I'll probably end up going to a show when I can, so we'll see what's up. I only have one other piece of news really, and if you guys have anything else, just go ahead and throw it in after this. But supposedly the big rumor, and I want to talk about it here because we've talked about it a lot on the other side of things. Spotted in the Performance Center recording videos, Zelena Vega. There is a lot of talk about how she seems to be potentially re-signing with the WWE. And, yeah, the internet is ablaze on this one, and I just thought it was interesting. What do you think about that, Amanda?
Well, I think, since, we haven't seen Aleister Black in how long now? I
He's
mean,
been on, well, he wasn't on this week, but he was on the couple weeks prior, 2 weeks prior. Doing
but
like
before
segments.
that, though, it
Oh, yeah,
was
before that
quite
was
a bit of
months.
time. Yeah, around like when she got the boot, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I could be wrong. I know, but it's very interesting because I know that they don't want to lose Aleister Black because they know exactly where he'll go
Yeah.
with, with her. And I'm like, yeah, but you know what? Honestly, it's getting to the point now where it's going to be full over in AEW, even though they have like 9 hours of wrestling they have to fill in a week. But, I think it's great. I think it was rude of them to cut off all these additional streams because there's some people who they don't make anything. They make, they're like the minimum wage of wrestlers, I like to call them, or, the one level up, they're a supervisor. But, and if that's how they supplement, then that's how they supplement. And I don't think that WWE or anybody should take that away from them, or control it. So if she did sign, awesome. I hope you stand your ground, because yeah, that's not cool for that. So
No, she did stand her ground, and she got fired for it. So if
I
she's
know,
coming
but you
back,
keep
it's not going to be standing her ground again. I don't think.
well,
Because they
Really
said
promote.
you pick the WWE, or you pick Twitch. And she said I pick Twitch. So I said see ya, because you're not going to
yeah,
have both here. So
Yeah.
if she's resigning, then she's giving up one of those things. I'll tell you that. Klump, what do you think? What do you think's going on?
I'd love to see her back. I would. I would say to both your points that, because I've said time and again, I think it's a really rough spot. I do also, I think, more understandable sides. I'll give something to WWE here in that um I think we want our performers anywhere. It really sucks when you find out somebody is just not great, and if you have the ability to control their image as a character versus the person themselves, I can get it, but it does ride this weird line. So
Yeah.
I don't know if we're really fully fleshing it out yet, because for the situations like Zelena Vega, I think of Randy Orton or AJ Styles, where I'm like, yeah, that was pretty not great, where they had said various things on Twitch streams. I think of um, just actors or people in general where you're like, oh, they're great in this movie. You find out like, oh shit, that's them. Okay, I'm not the biggest fan.
Yeah.
But then I don't know if it's a case by case thing, because in times it seems like that, because yeah, Up Up Down Down is now a WWE property, but for a long time it wasn't, and it feels kind of like they rolled it in, and it's a lot of weird, and I think there's better ways to do it for everyone involved. I want to see Zelina back. I think they'd be good. I think if anything else, I see this as a positive in that it speaks to the ability for Vince McMahon and the WWE to mend fences if they are coming back. Because they didn't leave throwing out a lot of great things.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They were vocal.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It's very possible. I don't know what the contract looks like. We've talked about that 100 times. We don't understand contracts here. I do think that it was a lot more complicated than everybody made it out to be, and I think this is also a complicated thing. But I do think, that there's a lot less Twitter traffic, or not Twitter, Twitch traffic nowadays than there was when she walked away, and I don't think that doesn't play a role. So I think that, I don't know. I don't know that it's even super appropriate for me to take a solid stance for or against wrestlers doing this or that within a contract.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's all super complicated, but I do think it's really interesting that she's back, just based off of, if nothing else, all the things that she did say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where it's like you said, Klump, if nothing else, it shows you WWE is willing to mend fences and bring people back, and willing for there to be a conversation. Because I bet you whatever contract it is not identical to the one that she had. And I wonder what kind of revisions are within there, So
No, totally.
yeah,
But
she's there just
I
to protest. She's gonna go out there with a sign like with Sami Zayn. She's gonna be like, "You want to talk conspiracies?"
Oh, that's funny. But no, I think with Up Up Down Down, I was gonna say, that reminds me of when Z True Long Island Story. I loved that, by the way.
Yeah.
It shows you what kind of, that's when I watched WWE, people. But all of a sudden you saw that it kind of changed because WWE had its hands in it. But remember, these were days when monetization on social media platforms really wasn't happening, or if it was in the really early stages. So, it kind of sucks when they do that. And I know they put the kibosh on him when he tried to do it again. And that got me interested again in WWE. But then all of a sudden he did 2 or 3 episodes that were a little short, and then nothing. And I'm like, ugh, doing the same thing. I'll just keep not watching.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's all I had for news. Anything you guys want to throw out there about news?
Well, we all know the news about dude behind me. Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Oh, yeah, Ricky and his injury.
Did we not talk about that on air last week? That happened last week?
No, No, because that happened
Okay.
the other day. Now we talked about when the
You
move
and I talked about it. So go. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So my boy, Mr. Starks, is gonna be out for about 3 months or so
Ouch.
because of that spot with Hangman. I totally called that on episode 1. I knew there was something more. And it's kind of sad because I know, one, he's never had a major injury. So this is, I know, is a real bummer for him. But it also is this weird, it puts this weird, I don't know, like this weird confusion of where they're going to go with what they were trying to build up, which will be very interesting to see. Apparently, he's going to be around. I don't know what that means, but he'll be around. I don't know. So kudos to Mickey for trying to at least, instead of, healing himself completely and being away, he wants to be a part of it. So kudos to him, and get well soon. And, since I don't know how the contracts work with AEW, if he's got like sick leave or something, but go buy a shirt and support him. You won't find this shirt there because he made them himself, but I'm trying to convince him to sell a charity shirt for himself. So if Casey doesn't have any income coming in. So
Yeah. Well,
just
find out.
laying it out there.
Find out. I want to know if Tony Khan's paying the medical bills. Because I'll tell you right fucking now, WWE pays all those goddamn medical bills. Either way.
No, I don't know, but he doesn't have to have surgery. But
So?
I'm like,
But he's still out.
well, how does it?
In WCW and WWE, if you were out injured, you got paid the same as if you were there.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
Xbox talked about it on his podcast.
Yeah,
you can check it out. Pro Wrestling for Life podcast, out now. Newest episode. He does actually mention a little bit about being, or wait, was it his Lex Luger episode? He talked in one of his more recent episodes about being out injured and getting paid more when he was out injured. No, that was this one because he was talking to John Arezzi, one of their guests, getting paid more while he was out injured than he probably would have been paid if he was actively wrestling, because they paid him basically top scale for all the events going on, and it included a Korea trip that he may not have even gone on. Wow. So I'm just saying, and he said the same thing with WCW, that when he broke his neck there and they ultimately let him go before he came back from that injury, that they were paying him the entire time, that as though he was going to all the shows. So it would be interesting. For one, I think the amount of talent that ends up on AEW that has no contract whatsoever are definitely not protected by those kinds of things. And it does make me wonder, with Tony Khan being so new to all this, if that's something that they're doing or not. I'm not saying you got to go find out on a personal level and put it out on air, but I am curious just in general.
Yeah, well, I can tell you this: ROH does not pay for their people if they get injured.
Yeah,
I've heard that.
ROH doesn't have $1 billion, so Tony Khan better fucking pay
up. I know, but still, even though, I mean, they're on Sinclair Television. I know there's some money.
Yeah, but it's not $1 billion. And they don't have a boat.
No,
what do you got, Klump? Go ahead.
Well, I was actually going to throw that. I know a little bit about Sinclair because their thing is news organizations. There's been a lot of pieces about them. They're not big on showcasing or spreading the wealth around. They're very big on consolidating. There's a lot of really rough stories of local broadcasters where it's like even down to like the pen cabinets are gone. It's like, okay, fuck. So I could totally see ROH being a little bit light there with wrestlers, which to that point, but Sinclair Broadcasting is a multi-billion-dollar company. And they're a wet fart on the industry, like what Marsh just did.
What? There's no way the mic picked that up. It was pointed the other way.
Yeah, I could hear producer react to it.
We all know what that side shuffle was.
What do you mean?
What's with the young Republicans' haircut, by the way?
What do you mean? It goes back, right? I just gotta get trimmed on the side. It's that Daniel Bryan cut.
Which cut? The first time he cut it all off, or?
I don't know. He's got a lot of
hair.
hair.
No, before
just
he got it
Daniel
done
Bryan
right.
and it works.
Okay. Got it.
Klump, what do you think about this with Ricky Starks in his neck? Do you remember the spot? It was a German suplex, and he was it looks like he was supposed to land on his feet, but instead he landed directly on his neck and then jumped up, and everyone was all like, look at him no-sell this. And we were all like, oh my God, his neck's like rubber or some shit.
Oh, no.
I think
It's him reacting to it.
yes, I do. I think that when it happened, he felt it or heard it or both. And I think that out of instinct alone, he jumped out because he knew if they knew, they would stop the match. And he seems old school as fuck when it comes to finishing the match.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that. No, when I saw it, I was like, that wasn't great. And I think often in wrestling, it's it's not the thing you think that is where somebody gets injured. It's the, I guess he no-sold that, because selling it also just physically, if you hurt something, trying to sell it probably makes it a lot worse. You know? And if you're, like if you're trying to see if you're okay and check yourself out, getting up is good.
That's true too. Can I stand? Yes, I can.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's why Paul Turner, I think, kind of reacted the way he did. If you go back and watch it, because he's like, "Are you?" And okay, all right. If you pop back up, okay, I don't need to,
Yeah, he looked like he was really concerned. He ran over there and kind of even held his neck and looked at him. And Ricky looks at him and kind of like gives him this little nod. I think because the way Ricky did it, when you look at it in hindsight, like I said, I think a lot of this was instinct. I think the reason he glanced over, for one, he didn't want the cameras to pick it up. Two, I don't think he wanted to move his neck much. I think he was holding it steady. Because he just like glances over there and does like this barely nod, and then fucking goes for it. And
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
but
Not great. But he's a trooper.
A tough guy. And personal shout out and a cheers to those people who messaged me. There are quite a few of them. Like, oh my God, Ricky's injured. So thank you. Yeah, that was nice. Thank you, community.
Yeah.
Let's see.
But good.
No, what were you gonna have? What'd you have there, Klump?
I was say, just hope he gets back soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Starks is a bright star in every sense of the word on AEW. So
100%.
I want him back. He's amazing. When I saw him live, I knew immediately he was an incredible workhorse. So I don't think it's going to be too long. I think he's going to be a Kachampa type. You're gonna find out he's bionic during an injury. He's gonna come back crazy.
No, I don't want to hear that. No.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean I don't know how neck fractures work and how they heal because I didn't go to med school, but I don't know. I think when I think of neck injuries, I think of everybody having the surgery that had the little thing like Cena had, and Nikki Bella had, and I think countless others have had. So I don't know, with the vertebrae, whatever, because your neck, that's a whole different thing. Because if you snap it, you're not living anymore. So.
Well, let's talk AEW. We're already in it. I was going to watch the show because knowing that Moxley was going to get his match against Yuji Nagato, knowing that match was only happening because he wanted it to happen, just because there's no sense for it. Right? It's a nonsense match. It's not storyline. It doesn't matter. He's a champ when he needs to be for the story. He doesn't give a shit about the title, and he doesn't. So it was going to be a bubble match. It was going to be this standalone. He really wants to work with this guy, and even said in an interview that his phone was blowing up from people who not only are from other companies, which, I mean, is obvious, right? Like, there's no way you think that Dean Ambrose has no friends in the WWE. There's no way. So when he said that, it's kind of like, can you believe he still gets tested? Yes, I can. He was there forever. He probably is friends with a lot of those people. But probably didn't get a text from Vince or Triple H or some shit. Okay. But, the locker room's a bunch of friends. But either way, knowing that he said that he was blowing up because people are like, you're so lucky you get to work with him. Can't believe you're going to get that chance. And he's like, hell yeah, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. I felt like this is going to be a bubble match. It's going to be the best match those two guys can possibly do. It's going to be his dream match, so it should be good for me to watch. But there wasn't anything besides that drawing me into it. And then when I was getting ready to turn it on, I saw the clip of the Young Bucks mocking HBK because everything's a joke and everything is parody. I saw Orange Cassidy get knocked unconscious for 3.5 minutes before somebody even comes out to check on him. I saw Inner Circle use a garden hose to mock the Stone Cold Steve Austin angle because everything's a fucking parody. And I remembered that this is not another wrestling show. This is the scary movie of wrestling shows, that everything's got to be a parody and a joke and mocking the idea of this whole thing, and nothing's a celebration of art. That I thought, forget it. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to sit through everything. I'm not going to try to sift through. I know it was the beginning, but I'm not going to be sifting through the parody and the jokes and the mockery of being a fan just to get to the one guy who actually gives a shit. Like, no, I'll just pass. So I didn't watch it. I know you guys both watched it, so I'll only chime in if I have to, but I'm going to let you guys go through it. If you want, I can help direct as far as like segments go. But yeah, let's start with Amanda because she watched the YouTube wrestling. And then when you get to AEW, we'll pitch it over to Klump. And Klump, you start telling us things you liked about it. Does that sound good?
Yeah, sounds good.
Let's do it. Let's get it.
The YouTube wrestling, you know, honestly, it's been kind of the same. And to be quite honest, it's getting a little stale because of the people that are there. Yes, we get a sprinkle, one or two of people coming in, you know, and then leaving and not ever coming back. But again, I think right now, Elevation is the superior of the two. But I watch Dark because Taz and Excalibur are just hilarious, and they just are funny. They take it seriously, but there's a lot of humor, and it's kind of like, you know, these guys have been working all like day, like hours, and it's the middle of the night, and yeah, they're a little loopy. So I think I enjoy that. But standouts of that, really, to be honest with you, is like Jade Cargill. She's getting a really interesting push, and I'm surprised they haven't been using her much in the YouTube shows. So hopefully they do use her a little bit more. I'd really like that. And I'm glad that I've given up on that Britt Baker talk show thing. I'm so glad they've given that up because that was awful.
Yeah, I hated it.
That was the week in YouTube wrestling. Not too much to be excited about because I think Dynamite was more powerful.
Okay.
Yeah, because that Mox match. Now, I kind of am spoiling this at the head of time if you haven't seen it. Obviously, he retains. I knew they're not going to let him lose that belt, or a belt that New Japan, you know, owns or whatever. I don't know how that works, but their belt, they're not going to lose it in the States unless it was one of their branded events. So, you know, knowing that, but I thought it was a great match. I mean, just seeing Yuji Nagata and him go at it, it was wonderful. And I wish that AEW would have more stuff like that. Or hell, I wish a lot of wrestling would have more stuff like this. He did come out to Wild Thing, which I thought was weird.
Yeah.
The original version. I personally, if you're going to come out to Wild Thing, he should have gone with the one that was in Major League that X did. But
I heard it was maybe a shout out or a callback or homage or whatever to, I think, Onita. I think Onita used Wild Thing in NJPW.
Oh, he did?
I believe
Yes,
that's
he
the
did.
case.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I
I was
don't.
like, why are we doing this? I'm like, what the hell? But yes.
Go
So
ahead.
that
We're gonna hear
that
from
was
Klump.
a cool moment. Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think of the first match, Klump, and all that stuff?
I thought it was great. Initially I was like, this seems really early for this, but I looked at it from the view of, you start the show strong, you end the show strong. So I was okay with that. And I also knew if this is the main event, I would hear no end of the shit from you, because the main event's them defending not their title. Ah.
I mean,
But
at least it's defending a title. Sometimes their main events don't make any sense, but yeah.
I mean, that's kind of often, but no, I thought it was a great match.
And I would have given you this. By putting Moxley's U.S. title in the main event, had it been main event, would just be further solidifying that Moxley may not be your champion, but he's still a main eventer here. where I did think it was a bit weird that he was like opening the show and he's always in weird time segments now. I don't feel the same about him being main event necessarily, but at the same time, their main event scene is all over the show. Kenny might show up in the middle of the show and never be seen again, and then you have the TNT title at the end of the show three weeks in a row. You know what I mean? Like, so all that's kind of a bit weird anyhow. But go ahead, Klump. Go ahead.
I agree. I think so. I also totally forgot that Onaida's like theme was Wild Thing. And I was like, wait, remembering old AJPW matches with Cactus Jack. I was like, right, that's what it is, and it worked out. I'm glad that they bought the rights because sometimes in Japan, a lot of wrestlers have really famous American rock star themes as their theme songs. And it's so hard to watch NJPW World and be like, oh shit, Togi Makabe's coming out to some generic ass theme song and not the immigrant song.
Oh yeah.
Oh man. You know, it's like when you watch ECW One Night Stand and it's like, Sandman's coming out to what the fuck is this? And why is everyone singing Enter Sandman to not this?
Yeah. Did you like the match overall though, Klump?
Yes, I did enjoy the match. I thought it was good.
Was this match one of the reasons why you decided to watch AEW instead of NXT this week? It's okay to say yes.
I had to replace an oil pan, so no, that's why I didn't watch NXT this week.
Okay. I'm just wondering. I'm not saying that in like a bad thing. I was just wondering if it came down to watching one or the other because of your time constraints, what would have swayed you to AEW? And I thought it might have been this match and maybe even SCU versus Young Bucks.
This match was the reason I was like, I should watch it for this. I also hadn't seen, if nothing else, I feel like sometimes a bad AEW show gives me a lot to talk about. So I was wondering what it'd be like. And I remember Amanda saying like, yeah, this should be a good week. And I was curious because if it wasn't, I was going to come in guns a-blazing.
Yep.
Awesome. No, that's great, dude. I love that mentality. I love the thought process on it. I was just curious. I just thought I would ask you.
Yeah.
So, Amanda, outside of, or unless there's anything else you want to say about the opening match, was there other stuff in the show you wanted to make sure you touched on?
Well, the opening match, I mean, that was great. I can't remember what the second match was. Was it? My brain. The only things that kind of stood out, I'll go back to that Orange Cassidy moment. I think when you mentioned it, I think it was because his character is just, chill. And so maybe people thought, oh, he's just laying down. He's napping, it happens. And not like, oh, could be injured. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of annoying to me. I was like, oh, okay, I don't get this. I just remember, I'm also really tired, just to let you all know, tired of the whole, inner circle pinnacle thing. It's boring.
Yes.
It's like, please stop, it's just bad. You could do other things.
What do you think about the inner circle stuff, Klump?
I fucking hate it. Like, and not just because they ruined a cool segment with watches where I was watching trying to find out what the fuck watches were the gimmick watches. Was it something legitimately nice? I fucking hated it. I think the inner circle, this would be a great chance to give them some time to rest, do things separately, break them up, and then they come back. But no, we do this, and it's another of their weird, overdone, way too long exchanges that doesn't make sense because I don't know if it is it because English isn't my first language, but that exchange right before Sammy starts spraying water, yes or no, and then he sprays. I'm like, this doesn't make fucking sense. He just could have sprayed fucking whatever it was. It made no difference. Why are we doing this over and over again? It was just the dumbest shit ever.
Yeah, I didn't love it, and I know a lot of people were like, well, it's just, that's the point of it, is it's funny because it's a reference to the other thing. Well, I wasn't a huge fan of
the other thing, and if you're, I think you got to have a little bit of time under your belt before you get self-referential. That's just my view of it. Like, it'd be really weird if like episode 2 of Saturday Night Live was like, holy shit, last week. Like, you gotta.
Or can you
give
imagine
yourself
Saturday
some
Night
time.
Live just constantly referencing like Second
Saturday
City
Night Live. Yeah.
or Mad TV? They're just making references about Mad TV. And you're like, it's not even your own show, dude. Like,
Uh-huh.
how are you making references to other people's show? Like, it's like, I don't know.
Well, and to a criticism you've made of AEW, it is so much self-referential to or referencing indie wrestling and wrestling culture overall, which is fantastic. But does every segment need to be that? Or if a segment's not great, does that have to be the standard defense and we have to accept it? Because I'm sorry, I'd like something a little bit different or new. Am I off base saying that?
It reminds me of
Not at
that,
all.
was it End of the World movie where what's his name? The guy from Superbad.
Which
Oh,
I
Michael
think-
Cera or Jonah Hill.
No, Jonah Hill. Where Jonah Hill's like, this guy's got the best quotes. He makes the best references. He uses the funniest quotes, this guy. Like, that's how it feels like people talk about AEW at this
Yeah.
point. They make the best jokes about other things. They make their references are the best. They quote all my favorites. And you're like, that doesn't make you... I mean, that was the whole point of the joke inside the movie, was that it was a fucking jackass who thought he was too funny. GR Lunar
and-
coming through the chat. Cheers to GR Lunar. Go ahead, Klump.
Well, I was gonna say also, when all you do is make reference to other things, when do these start feeling like flat Coke versus refreshing or interesting? Because in this show alone, it felt so continuous that one like references to things that could have been interesting or valid or unique or funny or different were just like, oh, they're doing that thing Ric Flair and Shawn Michaels did again. Okay, cool, whatever.
Yeah, wouldn't.
Racing
That's
this
why I
on
think
free
of it
TV.
like the same way, like you go, not another teen movie, scary movie too. That's why this falls in those categories for me, because it's like your jokes are about other people's product. Your product is a joke of other people's. That's literally the definition of parody. You are a parody of wrestling show. You might as well be not another wrestling TV show.
It's like the stand-up comedian that relies on the audience.
Yeah, when stand-up well, yeah, to a degree, when stand-up comedians, when their whole thing is, so what's your deal up front? Where do you work? What do you mean, where do I work? I'm here to see you work. I don't want to talk about my work. I'm here to talk about yours. You're supposed to be working, not me.
I didn't know
You
we
know?
were a two-man act, and I was helping you out.
Yeah. I told that to a comic once. He goes, "What's up, man?" I was like, "Hey." And he's all like, "So where do you work?" I was like, "You should probably move on." And he goes, "What do you mean?" I was like, "I'm not your act. I was hoping to see one. Do you have one?" And the guy was all like, "What the fuck, dude?" And I was all like, "I'm not here to feed your pipe dream. I'm just here to hear some jokes, man. Get to it. Try it."
Oh. Ouch!
But I was like, "I'm not your dude," because I told him twice. I was like, "I'm not your guy." And he's like, "What?" And I was like, "Just move on." He goes, "What does that mean?" I was like, you want to do this then? Is that what you...
Let's do it.
Okay, well then, if you don't have an act, I do. Well, let's get to it.
You're not Bill Burr or Patrice O'Neal. You're not gonna do good at this. I know, because we're in a comedy club in Tucson, Arizona, which is
Destroy that guy.
Yeah.
not.
Well, no, this was in New York. And the guy was not happy. But
Was it?
hey,
What was it like? Caroline's, or was it just like this
No.
place?
It was a place. It was just a
Oh,
small
okay.
spot. But yeah, I mean, he learned a lot that day. I think it's possible that he's made choices since then. So
Don't make it
New York's a learning
constructive ass
environment.
criticism.
Well, you
He
know,
might have killed himself.
Well,
but he would have
I'm
learned that
thinking-
was the next move.
I think honestly, like the guy should know. Like, if you're from New York, okay, the Apollo. What do they do when you're bad and the audience is booing? They get the hook. They bring the dude out. Yeah. It's like, come on,
Well,
dude. You should.
Also,
know
that's
that.
a fallback on a lot of young comics. We don't need to get into that, but
Yeah.
that is kind of the same thing. If your whole act is, don't you remember? I mean, there's even comics who do that stuff too. They're like, hey, remember this Nintendo game? I played it too. Wasn't it weird how Mario did this thing? And half the audience who didn't play Mario goes, what is he talking about? And the other half is all like, that's so funny because Mario is weird. And you're like, okay, you're keeping your audience to a very specific group.
Yeah.
Which is, good. I mean, famously, Patton Oswalt used to do shit like that all the time, and he's huge, so it's not like the worst thing you can do. It's just, it means that your act is a particular thing. You're looking to make a connection on nostalgia and not a connection on your own work, your own life, your own experiences. Your experiences are your nostalgic happenstances of other people's things. So that's what I mean. It's just not something I'm interested. I don't want to see not another wrestling show. Lunar does say Marsh, destroyer of comedians. Yeah,
Marsh,
dude.
destroyer of
I
people.
tried not to sit up front as much as possible just for their sake, because if they're stupid enough to walk into it. But Amanda, what do you think about all this parody stuff? I know we haven't heard from you too much on it yet. And then I do want to hear, before we move on, what Klump thought of the whole Orange Cassidy bit. But Amanda, what do you think of all this parody stuff?
You know what? To me, it just seems like it's filler. Because I don't know. I mean, it's never been said who is agenting and booking a lot of these matches. So sometimes I think maybe it is all Tony that's doing it. And he's not doing a very good job of it, I think. But yeah, I don't know. I'm very curious to know.
QT did an interview recently, and QT Marshall said that him and Tony Khan put together the whole show. Tony is the one who decides what matches he wants to see, because they're matches he wants to see, not because of the story that's going on. QT did say, and this was all, the way he said it was as though it was a positive thing, but he said he shows up all the time and has no idea what the show's going to be about or what it even has, and that throughout the day as they're piecing it together, he's telling guys, he goes, they just don't know what they're doing with him yet. Tony Khan's making it up as he goes, and then they let the guys go do what they're going to do, because they basically say, here's the match that Tony wants, and here's who's supposed to win. And that's kind of it. The guys just do the rest of the shit on their own.
No, but some of the talent, I mean, that would piss me off if I was a talent and like, oh, I guess Tony doesn't like me because I'm not going to be on TV. You know, I mean, yeah, that's kind of funky. But whatever.
But there's a lot of parody spots, and that stuff's not happening without Tony Khan giving the go-ahead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he must love it.
Oh, yeah, he laughs hysterically at it. He thinks it's great. Klump, what do you think about Orange Cassidy breaking his neck on TV and everyone just being like, maybe he's sleepy?
Yeah. Oh, boy. Look at you. That was the thing. Like,
good news is he's already been cleared to wrestle in the main event coming up in like 2 weeks at Double or Nothing. He's already fine. They cleared him while he was unconscious. Aubrey Edwards made sure that nothing was in the way of that match continuing, including an unconscious person, as always.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Clark. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, I was trying to, I can't recall the spot where he got knocked out like that or got hurt like that. I'm like, wait, part of me wants to be, is that why they had the run in to save asses? Because that'd be clever, smart, cool, and I'd give a lot of praise. That's a great way to do that, but I have a feeling I'm going to be told no. It was something way earlier that should have been caught.
Mm-hmm.
So when did it happen?
I don't know what moment it was in the match, but I can tell you it was the moment that Orange Cassidy, like I don't know the minute, but the moment was Orange gets Irish whipped off of the ropes, catches a super kick, or kind of it was kind of a insecurity kind of a deal, and takes a fall. The fall looks a bit rough, so it's a little hard to tell if he was actually a little bit rocked on that, but he's immediately grabbed by Pac by the head and neck and thrown into a powerbomb, and he's just powerbombed right on his neck, right on his head and neck. It's like a stacked powerbomb, and he just doesn't really move. And then, well, it's in a pinning predicament. Pac kind of just pushes him forward, so it's a kick out. And Aubrey looks at him, and his face is just beet red. And then they just lay there for a few minutes. And you're like, okay, well, I guess that's fine.
Okay, I remember seeing him like that beet red and like, yeah, that's
not good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not that Brock Lesnar red, where you go, God damn, that guy's pale.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Brock Lesnar turns red because he's pale and he's mad now.
Yeah,
Pink.
Brock Lesnar turns red because of motion.
Yes. But yeah, it was that spot, and I've seen some speculation on whether or not the kick actually rocked him a little bit. Some people say it did not. I think it's possible because his face is turning kind of red then, and he doesn't really get up
Yeah.
very well. When Pac goes to grab him, he's not like, he gets onto his feet, but he looks like he's not really moving in the direction the Pac is trying to move him at first. And then it's almost like he was jarred up, and then it looked like he was stacked powerbomb because it looked to me like he couldn't put his own head up, that he couldn't even protect himself. And so he was just actually power bombed. But that's also part of the problem when you move fucking 100 miles an hour and you don't sell anything in between doing a bunch of moves and you want to combo. If something goes wrong, there's no room to breathe. Remember that dude who just knocked the fuck out and they still did like their finisher on him? His fucking arms were like twisted and looked like the tree had fallen. But I don't know. It's just nuts, man. I just wish someone would be in the ring who could pay attention. You know what I mean? Like, the refs are just so bad at that. When this shit happens, it's the ref's fault.
Oh, 100%. I mean, beyond like moments like this, the injuries, it's just their acting's piss poor. Everything, it just They're actors more than performers and authority figures, and they're shit actors. So what else can I expect from them? Like I constantly, whenever, because it seems like every other match has to end in a, oh, somebody came in and hurt the wrestler, and they're so damn bad at acting like they can't look. I would so love a situation where somebody got a hit behind the ref turned around, saw them, and then acknowledged it, being like, shit, well, I didn't catch it, we got to keep going. Like, even went to the wrestler and said, hey, I saw that, I'm so sorry, we got to keep going. But no, we just have this, like, oh, everything's fine. It's like they fucking like took 20 Soma and then did the match.
It's awful. It's like you said, they have play actors who want to play referee because it's a part in the show and they want to be part of the show, and you don't have enough people out there like Jared Fritz, who is first aid certified and CPR certified and started out as a massage therapist for sports athletes and recovery. So that way, when he's in the ring, he knows what he's looking at. He knows what he's dealing with. And he can be there as a help or an assistance or safety when needed. That's what makes him, to me, one of the highest. I mean, to me, if I'm putting together a promotion, he's one of my first referees I'm getting because he is trained in the things that you need to be in there if you're not just playing around. Like, there's definitely a showmanship aspect to it, but there's also reality to the other side of it. And I just think that their big problem, outside of the fact that they keep fucking hurting each other, is that there's no one in the ring who's able to identify that because everyone's playing around. It's fucking bummer, man.
Let's be fair to, Paul Turner. I mean, he,
in the ring.
He's of all of them, I think that he's probably the most aware and whatnot. And he is the senior official. But I think that, you have one who obviously is more concerned about being famous and having notoriety than it is actually doing the job. Then you've got two others who, they're there. They're people's favorites, and I think that sometimes it's more of there's certain wrestlers that they ref better for, if that makes sense. Because I noticed like anybody who had done Chikara or Beyond or some of those other indie promotions, Bryce Remsburg was usually the ref. So that's where I think you kind of see that, because when there's other people and you don't really know, you're like, oh, okay. But I don't know. That's just my opinion. I don't know. I don't ref, so I can't tell you. But
I mean, I don't know, because I don't know what they look for in their refs. But
yeah.
Splinter Fox coming through. Cheers to Splinter Fox. And just in time, saying apparently during the sit-out powerbomb. Yeah, was it a sit-out or stacked powerbomb? I don't remember if he had his legs out. I think you're right. I think it was sit-out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a little brutal. What did you guys think about the Cody Rhodes promo? I've seen a lot of two sides of this on Twitter. A lot of people feel one way or the other. What do you feel about it, Klump?
Awkward. It was. I I get the messaging and the idea behind it so much, but it was kind of not. It wasn't polished like his usually are, and it kind of felt tone deaf to me.
Yeah.
Like his heart's in the right place, I get it, but like it just landed weird as hell. And whereas he's very good at being verbose, but also concise, like he's good at using the right amount of words at the right time to sound great. Here it felt like I gotta add words in, and it just made it awkward and then awkwarder, and like, okay, stop, buddy, I get you. Oh, calm down. You're happy and excited. Um, I thought the throw to Shahid Khan was cool. It's a neat thing, and I don't know, man. It just felt so focused out of the match, and like, look at me. I'm this. Look at how amazing America is, and we are, and I'm part of this great moment and excited, and I just got to talk about it, and I can't do this. And what the hell happened? It just was weird.
Yeah. I am I the only one who's just tired of hearing Cody cry? At this point, it's starting to feel a little
Yeah.
disingenuous. He cries on a lot of his promos, and people go, "Oh, look how powerful he's starting to cry." I was like, he cries a lot though.
Yeah.
Like he cries most promos. Like what makes the other
He's
promos
making-
notable when someone starts to kind of cry is because it doesn't happen in the other promos. Cody's crying a lot.
Is there an opposite of toxic masculinity, like where it's toxic, but where it's like it's a form of like being way too aware of your emotions? Like, okay, buddy,
Almost isn't that what they
calm
call
down.
signal virtuing or virtue signaling, where you push your sensitivities so much and what you're showing, like you're like, hey, look at I quietly donated to this charity that's about this. Like, well, that's not that.
Humble
or
bragging.
Yeah.
well, that's a humble brag. I mean, then there's the people who it's all like, hey, just so you know, and they're just trying to jump on the bandwagons of people actually trying to speak out. Like the amount of people who, like, especially with speaking out, we use that as an example. The amount of people who are using the speaking out hashtag to move dialogue along, and the amount of people who would just like hashtagging speaking out every 15, 20 minutes in some sort of like, I support it. I like it. Let's keep going. Keep doing your thing. And it's all like you're kind of cheerleading, but also kind of just like trying to make sure people keep talking about you being supportive. Sort of what I see. I think is similar to what you're talking about with Cody crying all the time. Look at how sensitive I am. Look how much my family means to me. All right, well, you cry a lot about it.
Or not even that malicious. I feel like he's so dead set on being a different face of a company that like he's stuck on I gotta cry. And I don't know if it's necessary. I gotta be emotional, and it just falls away from wrestling. Yeah, it's unique and different, but there's other ways of doing it, and you make me not want to like you, and I really like you as a performer, dude.
Yeah, my concern is that knowing that he's trying to get into acting and the fact that he's starting to cry every single promo, it starts to become a little disingenuous when you go, oh, are you working on your crying stuff or you're real? Is this what you're trying to do? So you can say, look at how emotional I get about this. And you're like, well, I mean, like I said, it's just, to me, it's feeling a little bit phony when the first couple times it was like, man, he's really feeling it. Now it's like, I don't know. He could be that emotional all the time, or he could be trying to sell that he's that emotional all the time. Fabtina does say, not sure why he needs to always be the focus for Black history or recognition. That's true. He's the...
Thank you. Oh my God. Thank you.
Like, if Black History Month was about Cody, apparently, because of, like, and then now this, it's like, you have other people who could speak up and be that that representation, right? Like, it can't just have to be the blonde guy. Just Time does say Cody...
Yeah. You can be a fantastic ally, and as a member of the executive team of this company, you have a lot of fantastic performers that could use the spotlight for furthering themselves, but also if you want to have voices for these subjects, doesn't it mean more if it's something like, or someone like Will Hobbs, or you know, Sonny Kiss, just Santana and Ortiz, just have people come out and talk. Be them.
100%. Just Time does say Cody sounded like he was giving a high school history lesson. Luna said, I don't know, maybe Cody should work on the lisp if he's going to get some acting roles. Twin Fox does say, well, I mean, he seems to cry when he's talking about his baby girl. Wouldn't you? I don't know. I mean, yeah, that's fair. I also think he cries every time he talks about his dad now in promos. Every time he talks about his brother, he gets choked up. Like, it's his family. But I've also heard him in interviews talk about his dad and his brother and not cry. So it does seem like, I do think that he's hyping up his emotions. So there's always emotions about your family, and it could be that he's digging in there to access that depth for the presentation of this promo to come off the way that it does, and that's completely fair and valid. I think it might be a little often at this point that it starts to become disingenuous, right? Not that it's not, if this was by itself, yeah, I mean, that was a passionate promo. Whether or not he was saying goofy stuff, he seemed to really mean it. But I'm just saying at this point it's consistent. He's digging to that well within him to portray that emotion. And I'm starting to say, let's veer a little, let's come back to that when you need to. If it's consistent and constant, it becomes a little phony. You know what I mean? That's not to say that he's not emotional about his family or that's not even necessarily good representation. That might be where you have to. I know I've met actors and talked to actors before when I was living in New York and stuff. Some of them would specifically think about their family when they had to cry in a scene because it's easy to get that emotion from there. You know what I mean? Or they thought about losing somebody from their family members, one of their family members or something. So it's like, I'm not saying the real emotion isn't there. I'm saying he's digging into that real emotion a little much at this point, I'm starting to think. Amanda, what do you think about this promo?
It's a piece of shit, I'll tell you. I too am on the God, does Cody have to talk? Really? Come on. And then when he started his little emotional thing about his child, and I'm sorry, I'm not being a bitch about this, but what I've genuinely thought was, gosh, we haven't heard about his baby in a while. Enter the baby. So I mean, really, that's rude of me, but still, yeah. And then, he's excited it's a biracial baby. I'm like, dude, you have biracial people that are on your, on your roster, and people of color that you celebrated a month that you had a special shirt that went to be donated.
Yeah.
No one else did. So I don't know. That kind of got me. And then I'm like, and then for a while I wasn't even listening to him. I'm like, and what does this have to do with Anthony Ogogo? And then because I tuned Cody out, to be honest, because I'm like, I don't need to hear this shit. It's a waste of my time.
It also, when he announces, I'm gonna go against the Olympic bronze medalist Olympic performer or Olympic athlete. Performer sounds funny to me. Olympic performer.
I'm performing at the Olympics this year.
Yeah. I mean, curling. Come on.
Hey,
it's a performance.
That's a sport.
My ass.
You know what? If they make cornhole an Olympic sport, I'm never watching that.
I got a gold medal in cornhole at the Olympics.
Yeah, no.
But I feel like this would have been a really cool exchange rather than a single promo of Cody coming out talking about I don't know, or have Ogogo come out, talk and challenge Cody, and Cody come out and can mix some of this in, but it feels weird as a face to be like, I'm gonna challenge this motherfucker because am I wrong? That just feels odd. Like, okay, why?
It seemed a little rushed and such, but Spin Fox does say, he says, I will take a Cody talk for one time, and I mean one time a show, then a Drew talking every 30 minutes on a 3-hour show, just saying. Yeah, but that's not the conversation. That's not even close to the conversation. The conversation isn't, I like this because I hate that. It was strictly that Cody is a good talker, and he is good at getting into that emotion. Is he overusing it for his own sake? You know what I mean? Like, the argument is Cody may be overusing an emotion which he's so good at using that you'd almost want to be a little more sparing with it. As far as Drew, I don't care if Drew ever talks again. I'm not here to defend Drew. I'm just saying the argument is Cody a better talker than Drew? That's not the conversation at all. Yeah. I mean, that's easy. Cody's a better talker, but I think that he's such a good talker and he's so good at getting into those emotions that I'd like to see a few promos in between where he's not crying. So I don't think he's phony. You know what I mean?
Or he does it less so that Don't feel
That's what I
like,
mean.
oh my God, he's gonna talk again. And then, the whole rigmarole of, oh, when's he gonna cry? When's he gonna mention his baby?
I feel
Or,
like he's always trying to
whatever.
get his hard times. You know what I mean? Like he's
Yeah.
always out there fighting. But the thing that's also important to note is Dusty Rhodes' hard times. It's only hard times to us. At the time that it happened, it was another Dusty promo because Dusty
Yeah.
was doing that shit all the time.
Mhm.
Every show he was cutting promos that were that fiery. So maybe he's just got that in his blood and that kind of like, hey, if you hit every promo like it's going to be hard times, one of the times you're going to hit hard times. So I'm not going to knock him on that because, maybe that's exactly the way to go about it,
That's fair. I mean, also I would say he's cut that promo. Like his promo after Double or Nothing with about his brother's match. That was
so good, dude.
fucking amazing.
Yeah, that was a great
Love
one.
that. I
Like,
still love that.
yeah, like
Yeah.
he's cut great promos. There's it's diminishing returns on a show of not great things sometimes,
Yeah.
I want to love these guys, but damn.
Spinner Fox does say, LOL, we haven't even seen Cody for a minute, and he comes back and everybody is like, here we go again, talking again. No. Amanda's the only one who said that. That was only
I'm the only
Amanda
one.
who said him.
That was me.
Me and
Here we go
and,
again.
and Klump both thought, oh, cool, a Cody promo. This ought to be good. And then we both were kind of like, this is a weird one, right?
Yeah.
No, only Amanda's like, here we go again. We're like, okay.
He's a
hold
shit.
on.
This was
Hold
shitty.
on.
Yeah. I had to mention the baby, damn it.
Yeah, that wasn't all of us.
Yeah, that was me. I'll own up to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit, here we go. No, hold on.
I take full
Yeah,
responsibility.
even the first frame I saw of Cody out there, and I was like, "Oh shit, this looks like it's gonna be a good promo." And then I heard about half of it, where I was like, "This is weird. I'm not." I'll come back for the next one. But
Yeah,
let's see. The other two things that people were talking about was, man, yeah, there's really only two other things. They were talking about Young Bucks and SCU. I'd already mentioned when I thought about that goofy bit, and I didn't watch the match, so that's on you guys. Anything you guys want to say about that match?
Well, I enjoyed it. I mean, because there, not just the kind of the history behind it. Yeah, there were some jokey things, but honestly, it's kind of, they're both, I think that CD and Frankie are really just, I mean, that was a good testament to the career, that they've had and this longevity. I mean, I'm sure that, I don't know. I'm wondering if part of this was because Christopher Daniels, because isn't he the talent development person or whatever?
That sounds about right.
I don't know what the title is, but I think maybe he wants to get more into the backstage stuff. And I wouldn't be surprised seeing Frankie, doing singles.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking is probably going to happen. But I really enjoyed it because it really kept me on my toes. And the Young Bucks are, even though, yeah, they're being jokey and whatever, but they're kind of that style. Their style is going back to, the Young Bucks that most of these people don't even know. So, yeah.
I would say this. I didn't think it was a bad match, but I thought in terms of placement, how it was done, how the show ran around it, and how the company books things, it could have been so much more. Imagine, and I like the idea of, Christopher Daniels, this being like a swan song, possibly a goodbye to jump into more of a role. But why the fuck not do it at Double or Nothing?
It did feel
Why
like
not?
this is the kind of match that could have had a build that could have got you to a WrestleMania. The idea of a potential last match between SCU and Young Bucks. Those are two big names on that show.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm not done yet. Why not have SCU win the belts here, then at Double or Nothing, they go at it again and they lose. And then it's that it can be heelish, it could be them putting them out. You could have this moment. It also could be a way for, I think, creatively building the Bucks up a bit more in their elite role. But it felt really just unimportant to what it was supposed to be. Like, I felt like I was being told to give a fuck about this, and everything about the match, I was like, I don't know why. Everyone's doing their jobs. Good on ya. But it didn't feel like anything was outstanding, whereas it could have been. Also, I don't know if Daniels meant to cut that much, or if that was a blade job, or that was a botch. But shit, that was bad.
Mhm.
Like, I don't think he meant to bleed that much, and it was like
Yeah.
bled like a stuck pig.
Yeah.
And also, if you're gonna make this, this is my biggest gripe here, as an event, as we're doing this, why the fuck are you cutting camera from the ring and then going back to them awkwardly after a commercial break? Give them time. If it's important, let that happen. Made me wonder, was Daniels hurt? But it just seemed so weird in pacing, weird in setup. There's a lot I wanted to like. I liked the exchanges with Kazarian and the Bucks, the false finishes. I was getting hyped for it.
Oh yeah.
I really wanted Kazarian to pull out the win, because I was thinking,
Nice.
okay, cool. This would, like, I was like half thinking, there's no way they're gonna just lose it here like that. Clearly,
Mhm.
they're gonna bring it to Double or Nothing, and then they're gonna lose it. So I'm being cynical and thinking, yeah, everything ends on a pay-per-view. This wasn't the time to do that, to surprise me. This is a bad surprise.
Yeah, Splinter Fox says something kind of similar, and then I'm gonna tie it together here. He says, what pissed me off is we didn't get to see SCU in the ring after they lost. They didn't get their moment, which to me was like, is it not over yet? Like you said, it could be maybe Daniels was hurt. It sounded to me, I heard from most people, it sounded more like a production. They cut to commercial immediately because they were pulling the match so tightly on time, more or less is what it looked like or felt like. I like what you're saying about if they had won here, you could have had a very small, short celebration, and then when they do get that loss, since it's on a pay-per-view, you're not strapped by time. You've got loads of time because it's a pay-per-view. You can give them those extra couple minutes to do their farewell thing. And I think also, even with the Young Bucks becoming the first ever 2-time, that helps with their numbers, boosts their thing, and they're a young enough company that's already had, 3 or 4 tag team champions at this point in less than 2 years. Like, I don't think it would hurt it to be like, hey, our tag division's so big that it's hard to hold on to it for a year. You know what I mean? Like, or our tag division's so good that, it's not a surprise that SCU took it. You know what I mean? Like, I just think that it wouldn't have hurt anything. I don't think it would have undermined the titles at all. SCU's former tag champs anyways, aren't they? Weren't they the first?
Yeah, they were the 1st.
Yeah. So you have former tag champs get it off of the Elite get it back a week later and say, yeah, but you just had a lucky night. And I think it would have worked. I think it would have worked great. I think it would have been perfect. More time and all that.
You have this awful storyline with Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers and Don Callis and stuff with Impact and all this other crap that, if the Bucks had lost, you got to think about, okay, how would that have been? That totally throws off that whole whatever they're trying to do, because I still
Impact.
I don't understand. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That sucks that the AEW's kind of got to book around what they're doing with Impact. Because I think that Klump's concept here is great, but the only thing it does throw a monkey wrench in is what Impact is doing. It's kind of like, well, God damn it. I wish that weren't a factor.
Yeah, that's how I felt. It's like, damn it, because when they lost, I was like, it hit in my head. I said, that's why they lost, is because if they won, what are they going to do with that damn stupid storyline, that they're running? That's annoying.
That is weird. Leah Moonlight coming through the chat. Cheers to Leah Moonlight. Always a fan of you coming through. If you guys ever want to join the chat, derail, be a member of the show like Splitter Fox, WrestlingOnTheRocks.com has all of our links. If you click join the chat, it'll actually walk you through on how you can be adding your Amazon Prime to your Twitch account. So you actually subscribe to us for free, be alerted, and buy us a drink at no cost to you. Lunar does say they bleed too much in AEW. And I've heard other people say that, and I think it's an understandable argument, because they seem to be bleeding every week.
I think Tony
at least one match, and usually 2. What was that, Klump?
It's like they got hemophilia. you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I guess that was even part of the argument that so there was, I didn't see it, so I can't source it, and I don't know about the rumors or if they're even true or anything like that. But the discussion that was online was that potentially there was talk backstage at WWE, and they thought that the Blood and Guts match set the business back 30 years, and I don't think that it means what people think it means, and I don't know where the source was either. But I do think that there's a certain stigma that's been around wrestling for so long, we still deal with it, where even now, where Ric Flair is 130 years old in a Car Shield commercial and he hits a dude with a chair. People hear you're a wrestling fan and are like, oh yeah, I'll slam you through a table. They think of almost crazy levels of violence as being wrestling, and there's a stigma to that made it hard for them to get sponsorships and to get TV deals and network deals for a really long time. So I do think that the growth of the business has gone so far as to not be held with that stigma for the most part. But if you have a competing show on that level that is that bloody that often with that many weapons, it goes immediately back to the thought process of like, oh yeah, that's where they hit everybody with chairs. And you go, no, there's other things. You know what I mean? So I could see that as being a conversation.
Yeah. It's like GCW. I think that I don't know. I know probably some of the stuff on GCW you probably cannot do on TV like that. I would think you could because it's cable TV, but I just kind of think of that, and that the wrestling fans now are really more. I think there's more deathmatch fans now than I remember being like a couple of years ago, and it's I personally not a fan. I'll watch it if I'm in person and there's light tubes. I'm out of there. Don't like those, but I can take the panes of glass and the barbed wire. But I don't see the purpose of it. You don't have to make everybody bleed. Now, if it's an accidental thing, then there's something wrong with some of your wrestlers then. But especially with the injuries now too. So, I don't know. I'm like, like, Tony, come on. What's going to be your next thing that you're going to like love?
Yeah.
That we'll see what happens.
Let's see. Splinter Fox does say, as far as the SCU things go, if it was a pay-per-view, he goes, it would have been in front of a full crowd too. And he goes, I bet the fans would have been going wild. I think that's true too. I think you would have had such a cool response for them. I agree. I think that what Klump was saying more or less is that here was potentially what could have been a huge moment, and everything about the production of it in and of itself made it feel like just another match on the card, when everything about it, even in hindsight, was meant to be a big moment, but it was just presented in such a way that you go, well, that would have been nice if they did it a little bigger. But he does say it won't throw it off if the Young Bucks have not been on Impact, though. I thought they're part of that big... I thought they're building towards the Young Bucks and all the Elite versus half of the Impact roster or whatever. I thought they were Young Bucks were over there for that. Have they not? I mean, if they're not, then they're not. I don't know.
I don't watch Impact, so I don't know.
But if that's where they're going, then they may need the titles for that anyways. I don't know. We'll see what happens. If the tag titles get somehow involved with Impact, we're going to know all along.
Well, I think that, I think that the Good Brothers are going to take it from them.
Yeah.
That could be.
That's what I've been thinking for a while now. But
I could see them doing that.
Yeah.
Splinter Fox does say, to be fair, sometimes they don't mean to bleed. It just happens, like Mox in the first match. It was just physical. Yeah, that's not what I'm talking about even. I'm not talking about like a weird cheek mark that Mox gets. Yeah. I mean, the amount of episodes you see them grab a razor blade and cut themselves in the head because, for one, the TV shows it. The camera zooms in on it. And it happens that often. I'm not talking about the other ones at all. I've never minded when someone catches a stray knee or a kick and their nose breaks or something. You just go, oh shit, that was wild. But when you're watching them cut themselves, you go, okay, that you would think that when you are getting to the point where you're writing in a moment of blood, that you'd want it to be meaningful. And it's getting to the point where it means less at this point to see the blood because it is so often on top of the other little things. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Those Moxley catching a little bit of blood on his cheek is a little thing, but on a show where I think other people bled, it starts to go, well, if they're bleeding on accident and on purpose, it just seems like a lot of blood. You know what I mean? Like, it undermines the potential theatrics of it. Sometimes, not always. Some of those matches, like the blood and guts one, kind of had to be bloody. Otherwise, what the fuck are you doing? It's a cage match, you know.
Yeah.
But they didn't have to show Jericho holding onto his razor blade for 3 minutes before he did it, you know. But that's on
Oh,
a few
flubber.
people, I suppose. But I mean, like, I think someone else bled earlier in the night too. That might have been an accident, and you just kind of go, "Oh shit, that's a bad accident to get into." So, yeah, I'm not talking about that so much. I'm talking about the amount of times that they're asking people or people are volunteering to cut themselves, and it's clear. I think that's becoming a bit often. That's all I'm saying. Go ahead, Klump.
I would say this too, like if it's like there's too much bleeding, but also I don't know if I'm fine with the amount of accidents they have because that speaks to recklessness to me. Because yeah, see a lot of like with Christopher Daniels, I don't know if you bladed or you hit your head on the back of a thing too hard because I don't know anyone that really blades the back of their head there.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, heads bleed like crazy. I've cut my, anyone who's shaved their head bald and cut their head, it bleeds like a motherfucker. But you tend not to cut there. And it's weird. So I wonder a lot, how do we need to be a little bit less snug? Do we need to be a little bit more careful? Do we need to not do these crazy ass stunts we're doing?
That's true if you're seeing it more often. Because, I mean, Beth Phoenix comes to mind at Royal Rumble like 2 years ago where she knocked her head on the post and bled throughout the match, and it was crazy and badass, and it wasn't like, I love that moment, but you kind of go, God damn, she's a badass. But that stands out in my mind because there's not a bunch of other moments that happen like that where we just had a little conversation about how often other people are bleeding outside of being bladed, as that's an addition to the show. And you're right. I mean, Lunar asked that in the chat too. He said, right, but couldn't that also be taken as a sign of them being sloppy? I think in some degrees, sure. And you might not be talking about every moment and everything, because Splinter Fox is saying that the Mox match wasn't sloppy at all. It just happens and some people bleed easy, which is also possible, but that's one match you're talking about. We're talking about, is there too much blood on AEW week in, week out with blading on top of accidents? Does feel like when you say it like that, Klump, it does feel like a pretty weird conversation. Well, you have accidents every week on top of asking someone, that is a bit of a weird conversation.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a conversation we should probably be able to have, but we do.
They do have a lot of neck and head injuries. And I think a lot of
they don't even have Nia Jax. How does that happen?
Well, you saw the one with Ricky and Hangman, Sammy Guevara. I've seen that a couple of times happen.
Wait a second. Did Nia open up a wrestling school in Georgia?
She might have.
Just kidding. It's fucking around.
Who knows? But it's kind of scary now because I look at some of these things and I'm like, wow, I've seen like Private Party, go that route. I think that claimed I don't
Top Flight, they got hurt. Half of the Acclaim got hurt. I mean, it happens.
Yeah, it happens, but that's a common injury that they're having. So I would think their medical dude, or dudette, I don't know if it's a woman or a man, but they need to really be aware because some of these things could paralyze somebody. Because I know
I think
Guevara
that's kind of the narrative of people I know who aren't just shitting on it for shit on sake. That's kind of their go-to. They're like, I'm just so terrified that someone's going to become so critically injured on live TV. And it's like, I hear you. I don't know that I know enough about all of it to say like, hey, don't worry, this is safe, or oh, don't do that, it's not safe.
No.
Like that Conti and Maddie corner, the two knees to the back that happened on, I think it was Dark last week.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, the thing looks fucking brutal. There were some people in the business saying, trust me, that bump is incredibly safe to take, and it just looks great. And then I also saw some people in the business saying, trust me, it's fucking not. And I'm just sitting there going like, I don't know. It looks really gnarly. I know it's supposed to look gnarly. It does feel like that, it only has to go wrong one time for it to be a catastrophic event. But at the same time, how many moves are like that? I mean, pile drivers like that. A lot of moves it only takes a quarter inch and one time for it to be a horrible thing. So I just don't know. And I don't think that we're qualified to like take a stance in that regard, but
I do
think that if we're having a conversation of accidental injuries and blood happening so often that it makes the blade job seem too often, that's probably not a good place to be able to get to. And that's where we got to. This conversation started with like, don't they blade a little? Aren't they bleeding a bit much? And then it was like, yeah, but there's a lot of accidents. And you go, wasn't that it? I was just talking about them doing it on purpose, but you just bring up the point that they do it on accident. Lunar does say some of these foreheads are going to be ground beef soon, and that's the other thing too, because I think about Bruiser Brody, Dusty Rhodes, and you think about like those. Dustin's getting kind of bad at this point. Abdullah the Butcher, like that's what I mean. And some of these guys aren't good at it. Moxley is terrible at blading. Every time he does it, his head swells. Like his head swells, it hardly bleeds, and it has like this puncture wound in the center. And you're like, you're not even sure what you're doing, dude. Like, how do you have a donut up there? But
not everyone is Nick Gage.
Right? And that's just it, is like, I think about it and I go, like, I get it. You guys are trying to add all this to it. And you want to be different and you want to stand out. And that definitely makes you stand out. And I was like, but part of me is like, no one ever saw interviews of Bruiser Brody and Dusty Rhodes and said, can't wait for my head to look like that. And how could you be a promoter who says, yeah, my guys' heads will look like that, but it's going to be dope on the way? And you're like, yeah, it seems weird.
Yeah, no,
although to wrap up what Lunar's saying in the chat, he says, yes, Splinter Fox, I'm not pointing out anything specific. It just seems like every week there is a Twitter post with a wrestler being bloody, like they're so edgy. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it just seems like I don't know, I'm getting kind of numb to the idea of like, this guy bled. But
it's not exciting.
Desensitizing. Yeah.
It would be more exciting if they peed or pooped their pants, I think.
Ooh.
Every week there's this brown streak.
Yeah, poop job. That'd be great. They're all like, dude, he got the shit kicked out of him. Was he bleeding?
Literally.
No, his shit got out of him. His shit was everywhere.
That'd be the best.
His muffler flew out into the second row.
Yeah. And you'd have people, oh, that was a horrible spot. Oh, I love the spot. Whatever. It's funny.
Bunch of German fans in the front row.
Yeah, that'd be so good. Klump in his background. It does say, so Stadium Stampede was announced. That feels a little rushed, if I'm being honest.
Yep.
It's like, again?
A little forced.
We're doing this again. Did we need to do it the first time? Okay.
But even then, because I agree with everything that they say about, hey, the WWE just books Hell in a Cell because they got to book a Hell in a Cell and it doesn't always need to get there. And I agree with that 100%. I think that they overdo stuff like all the time in WWE like that. I mean, that doesn't mean I'm not going to allow myself to become invested in the Hell in a Cell matches, but it does mean that the argument to me is completely sound. When someone goes, hey, every year they book to a Hell in a Cell, you go, yeah, they shouldn't do that. Does that mean I hate Hell in a Cell every year? Nope. It just means that it probably would be nicer if it was less often. But
so is that Jericho's
but this does seem like it's pretty sudden and all the time. He's like, it's been a year and again, relax. Yeah. No, that's what I mean. It's been, they've made it their anniversary show. That's exactly the point. But it just seems like the Blood and Guts and Stampede they threw together because they couldn't do Blood and Guts last year and wanted to, and it's been a year and they're doing Stadium Stampede. It just feels like it could easily go that direction. I just hope next year they don't do Stadium Stampede just to prove a point and just to
or
keep
don't
things
feature
fresh.
Chris Jericho in it because
he's
that
in all
seems
of them.
like this is his match. Is this Stadium Stampede? But I think it would be more entertaining if they did a cinematic cruise ship stampede when they go on the Jericho cruise. I think that would be
interesting. Awesome. I might be more interested in that. I didn't like Stadium Stampede last year, so
I only liked one part.
Doesn't move me either way. But
I liked one part. We all know what that was.
I wonder what Pinnacle will do with it, because the group last time was the Elite versus the Inner Circle, right? So it was a bunch of jokey guys, and a chunk of the Pinnacle is really not like goofy and funny. So it might actually turn out pretty cool this year, to be honest.
Yeah. And then you have Tully there too.
Yeah, and Tully.
I'm like,
watch them put Tully in one of those mascot gimmicks like they had last year. He's gonna get elbowed, and they're gonna be like, it was Tully all along. The last thing people are talking about, and we'll move on. Miro defeated Darby Allin for the A&E TNT Championship. Derby. I don't have much to say about it other than cool for Miro.
Yeah. It wasn't a bad match.
What did you guys think of it?
It wasn't a bad match.
I do. Because what was all this bullshit with the this best man shit and basically throwing him under the bus, and then all of a sudden, there are people who wrestled Darby I'm not saying, you know, Ricky or whatever, but there were other people who had really great matches with Darby that did not get the belt. So I don't get it. So is this there? Okay, we're going to throw you a solid one now, Miro. Is this what that is?
That's
I mean,
right.
I don't know.
That's what I thought. I thought this was to make it all right because he's been doing goofy, stupid shit this whole time. That it's like, okay, now we're gonna make you a beast and give you a title so we can, you know what I mean? Like it feels suddenly like, okay, now we're gonna take him seriously and have him stop being
Yeah.
an Xbox guy. That's what it felt like, but I mean, that's good for
think-
him, right? At least puts him in the right direction.
Yeah.
I mean,
guess.
at least it wasn't a bad match. Like I can get what y'all are throwing out there. At least to me, at least it wasn't a bad match. You know, granted, yeah, I think a lot of people could have gotten the TNT title, but I'm not mad at it. It's just I I don't know. It was solid, but if anything, it feels really out of nowhere because you've done very little to make me think Miro is a valid contender or a serious contender. You've booked him as strong, but that's more because you book him as just crushing and breaking things. But I don't really feel like he's like this monster. You know, it's just he beats up people smaller than him.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Like just in general.
It's true.
I like that. But I will say I saw the clip where people are contesting that Miro failed the finish because he was pulling back so far that his shoulders were on the mat. And they stayed on the mat for the entire time, and the ref didn't count or look at anyone's shoulders. He just got in Darby's face to ask Darby if he wanted to quit. And when I looked at it, I saw someone make the argument where they said it just looks like Miro's back is so muscly that his muscles are there, but his shoulder isn't based off of where his tattoo was located upwards.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you right now, that would have been a pin because you have to have your whole shoulder blade up. You know what I mean? It's not like, hey, because otherwise you could just move up a little bit, right? Like that is a kick out. Just putting your arms together a little bit is a kick out. No, your shoulder blade has to be up. So
I mean,
it was a pin for sure, but you know, it's not what they were going for, and it looked dramatic. And I'm not like, I'm not going to contest he's the champion or not.
I think
Well,
it was.
I will. Yeah. Oh, go
Good.
ahead. Oh no,
Oh.
I was gonna say, I was just thinking now that with Miro having the belt, now there's gonna be hopefully, a new set of people. Like I would love to see him and Trent go at it.
Mhm.
You know, so I think there's those possibilities, but I mean, I don't know if that's something that Tony wants to see. So yeah, because I think all of the majority of all of the good wrestlers supposedly are all in a faction.
Well,
You know,
well-
and Mira's not a faction. So who do you have? Just random people on Dark, you know? Well,
Yeah, but that could be good for him to get contenders who aren't like, you know what I mean, or even to get people throughout factions, but he doesn't need his own faction. Like that could be good to help build him. Go ahead, Klump.
I feel like the thing to me that bugs me about the end, and it's funny that they threw, the pin. No, to me, what sticks to me, what bugs the absolute fuck out of me, is that he just leaned back, and I saw nothing change with Darby. It wasn't like he went limp or anything like that. The ref just looked at him and was like, "Yeah, it's over," and I thought that something was wrong. It just seemed really weird. Like, yep, it's done now. Like, okay, what happened? Like, give me more info. You know, it's my biggest complaint here.
Yeah, that's fair. The way they started it. Splinter Fox does say COVID has a lot of factors to do with this. He thinks he goes, this I bet if they didn't know they could have a full crowd, that is why. I'm wondering if you're talking about with Miro. I thought that was a Miro thing. About maybe why they had him just goofing off for a while until now. It could be that when he came in, they're like, look, we don't want to just push you to the title. We want you to win a title in front of people, and we're doing other stuff with it anyway, so let's just get you TV time and you can play with your friends or something. It's possible. Splinter Fox does say, I'm glad that Allen does not have the title. He should have not had it in the first place. I don't know why you like him as a champion. I liked it when he won it, personally. I thought it was a cool move. I thought it was neat just because I like when the homegrown guys get a little bit, and I thought he was really easy to appreciate in the ring, and I thought he was connecting good with the fans. I didn't have a problem with him winning it. I had a problem with him waiting like 4 months to do a 3 title defenses. And I was like, come on, you.
Yeah.
Cody did it every week. You could at least do it once a month. You know what I mean? So that was my only issue
Maybe
with
he
him as
was
a champion
injured.
is it took a while. I don't think so. I think it was just how it was booked. I think because they were so focused on the Sting stuff. Because Darby made some sort of comment. It was literally like a day after I pointed out on like somewhere else where they're like, he's been champion this long. And I was like 3 defenses. You know, because it was like when he was 190 days or something crazy. And it was all like, he's defended it 3 times. He hasn't even defended it in the last 3 months. Like he did a couple right away and then that was it. Like, where's it been? I think it's because they just weren't focused on it in that regard. And they're like, well, he'll remain the champion because it was good to have him be the champion for the story. But they were more focused on the main story than having any smaller stories to accompany it. You know what I mean? So I think that's my impression I got off. I just wish he had done more defenses, but I liked him as a champion. It says Sky should have been the guy, and I can't ever disagree with someone saying Sky should be getting big wins there. I think to me Scorpio Sky's the guy.
Yeah.
From the first from when I saw Double or Nothing and when I saw the first AEW, I was like, this is your guy, man. I don't know why you don't just put everything
Him
on
and
this guy. I
Hangman.
would have made him a world champion by now. Absolutely. I would have had him take it off of Jericho.
1000%. Yeah. It is weird to see him in the spot he's in because it's just so. There's so many people in this company that I'm like, man, he could do it. Why not him? Why hasn't it been him yet? Or oh shit, them, yeah. And it's not even seemingly focused on like Jericho or other people. It's just fucking weird, you know?
Yeah. He was saying that the blood and guts thing was the COVID thing. Yeah, that's why they canceled the first one because it was supposed to be like the first week that they ended up having no fans. Like that was supposed to be the first week that they shut down was supposed to be the night of blood and guts, and it was supposed to be in front of a bunch of people. So 100%, it was a COVID problem is why it got put off. But they did make it nearly a 1-year anniversary on both, and I just kind of hope that moving forward, it doesn't become, hey, every year we have a blood and guts, and then the next pay-per-view we do the Stampede. You know what I mean? I just hope that doesn't become a yearly thing that they make happen, especially in a company that has so many factions. It's going to feel really easy to do that. I just hope they don't lean into that. I want those things to remain special. Like the way War Games used to be a special thing. Now that it's a yearly thing, it seems to me a little forced, to be honest. I don't want Blood and Guts and Stadium Stampede to start feeling forced. I want those to become special events that, like, when they happen every 2 or 3 years, it's like, oh, shit, we're getting another one, you know? That's what I'm saying. I don't want it overbooked like the way WWE does stuff. Yeah, I'm saying
But
a
it's
nice
going-
thing, Splinter Fox, about AEW. Throw it at me like that.
That's your one per year. That's your fucking
my one.
Christmas gift.
I got it. He says,
Merry
Sky and Ethan
Christmas.
Page are my guys right now, which is dope. I've heard so many good things about Ethan Page. I haven't seen what everyone else is seeing in him,
He's
but I love
amazing.
that you. That's what I hear. I'm 100% for a ton of fans for him. I haven't seen the thing of him that's going to bring me in yet. That's all. I haven't seen a match or a promo that made me go, oh yeah, I see what everyone's talking about. I'm just not there yet. I think I'm going to get there though, just based off what I hear. So I love that people are already seeing that.
Yeah. I'll have to think. Let me think of one that you can watch that one of his matches that I thought was pretty stellar. I'll have to think of one that comes. Can't off the top of my head think of one that comes to mind, but
Makes sense.
you know,
He
he's
says
very
also
consistent.
Sammy. He also said Sammy, but I think he's for one, he just wanted to rile up Amanda, and I think that's a fair thing to do. And he said this Stampede is going to be all fighting, no funny.
Ew.
MJF had already said it. If it's true, then I hope so. Like I said, this has the possibility to be a Stadium Stampede I might like. I didn't like the last one at all, but with Pinnacle being involved, it feels like it's very possible that it is something I will like. So 100%.
I'd like it if they'd burn MJF's scarf. That would be great.
That'd be
somehow.
great.
That would be great. But
Lunar
you know,
says, yeah, like Royal Rumble, am I right? Royal Rumble's totally different, you know it. It's basically just having a tournament once a year. I don't mind King of the Ring tournaments and Royal Rumbles. I'm saying, like, the fact that Hell in a Cell is every year is a little overbooked, you know? I don't want...
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that War Games is every year in NXT feels overbooked. This last War Games felt super forced, and I wasn't into the build of those at all. I liked the matches just fine, but the build I wasn't into. That's what I mean. I don't want there to be... I want them to stay away from just spoiling builds that way just to get to a gimmick match that they want to have because it's that time of year again. There's no reason they should be that way. there's no reason. I mean, WWE does it because it's easy for them to market and make stuff out of, and I guess AEW has to lean in that direction at some point. But maybe on some of these ones, we just hold off and let them be special. That's all. That's all I got to say on there. Splinter Fox doesn't believe that I'm throwing AEW a bone. All right, stay suspicious. Stay suspicious.
Oh, by the way, to comment on that Sammy thing, I'm actually going a little light on him because he wants to have a match with Ocean Spray and beat his ass. So I had to say, who do I hate more?
Yeah.
I don't like Ocean Spray.
Beat up
Yeah,
Ocean
my
Spray.
heart. Ocean Spray. Yeah.
All right. Any other things you guys want to throw in about AEW? I got nothing else to say about them.
No, I'm good.
Move on.
No
Because
final
NXT
thoughts?
was awesome.
NXT was dope. I will say it did not have LA Knight, and I felt it.
Yeah. Yeah. That was the one negative about NXT, I think, too. No
It
LA
really
Knight.
was.
I watched none of NXT, so I'm curious to hear how it was, guys.
Pretty good. That's the show. See you later.
Peace out.
Like, no LA Knight. Nope.
Yeah.
Done.
I'm out.
Yeah.
I am out. Let's see. Splinter Fox does say Royal Rumble should be every other year, or if they really want a story like letting Edge win, or have a male Rumble one year and then a female Rumble next year. I don't think I have a problem if they did a back and forth like that, but I also don't have any issue with them doing it yearly just because it is a number one contender spot. It's a fast track to WrestleMania. You know what I mean? It's like those things. I'm cool with those. It doesn't bother me. But I hear your argument, and I don't think I can say that. Like, I don't think it's a terrible thing if you did women's one year, except for the fact that they've already proven they can do both in the same night. Otherwise, it would be like, if they had done that, it'd have been fine. I got no issues with it. Elimination Chamber, Lunar's asking about. Yeah, I guess I wish that was more of a every so often thing. That one feels a little forced at times. Money in the Bank is fine. Anything that ends with a number one contendership as a way to do it, like I said, like a tournament or a ladder match once a year to get somebody in that title picture.
Yeah.
The Royal Rumble. None of those things bother me because it's meant to look competitive, right? Like, hey, there's a couple times a year because in kayfabe, there's a couple times a year when even the mid-carders got a shot, where even the people who aren't seen as the main eventers got a chance to get into that main event. Like, it just feeds into that stuff, and I think that's part of what makes it kayfabe be a competitive place, right? You know what I mean? Ricochet still got a shot, and if he's just getting Money in the Bank, he's got a shot at the title, you know? If Ricochet ends up in the Rumble, he might go to WrestleMania. Like, it just gives that kayfabe feeling of competition and the ability of an underdog to come up. So I never get a problem with those. It's like it's those grudge match type things. Like TLC, not a fan that that's every year, especially not when it's a month before Extreme Rules. You know what I mean? But that kind of stuff, yeah, or Hell in a Cell, I don't wish those were every year is all. He says there's too many gimmick matches in all of wrestling. Yeah, I mean that's just it. Yeah, I mean it just feels like we escalate so fast nowadays. You know what I mean? Like it used to be wrestling matches, interference, DQs, this and that, and then it feels like one or two matches, and then it's like, all right, well let's have a chainsaw match. And you're like, what? We just cut our first promo. Welcome to the show. We're going to do a bunkhouse kick you in the balls match.
You know what I'm missing? I'm missing good entrances.
There's
I miss that.
Effie Valkyrie on NXT UK has a badass entrance. Karrion Kross I like.
Yeah.
I like LA Knights, but it does feel a bit pro wrestler-ish, but I think it's part of why I like it. To me, he feels a little throwback. Yeah.
Yeah, that's his thing. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's because I missed Marty Skrull. I don't know.
Oh yeah, that was quite a
one little key just. Yeah, I go nuts. I go apeshit.
Could be.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. NXT opened up with The Way. We had Karrion Kross, Austin Theory in a match where Scarlett and Gargano are on the outside. I'm going to be honest with you. I put the show on twice, And both times I could not get invested in this match. I'm just so distracted by how much I don't like Johnny Gargano. He's such a drag. But from what I remember seeing, there were some pretty badass spots with Austin Theory looking like a beast. Karrion Kross eventually got the win on a really cool submission while he was staring at Gargano, which was creepy as fuck.
That was great.
Move for move throughout the whole match. I think it was probably a better match than I'm giving it credit for, to be honest, because the distraction of Johnny Gargano for me personally was just too much. What do you think of it?
You know, I honestly, Johnny Gargano, now that you've got me on that train of, God, he just irritates me. There's no use for him. But
a bad influence.
Yeah, bad influence. But, Austin Theory, again, he's another one that I'm kind of getting annoyed with too. I guess maybe I like the female portion of the way. So
Yeah,
but
I do.
yeah, I mean, it was okay, but that was very creepy. I did love that moment when he was looking at Gargano and the
Looking
finish.
crazy.
I was hoping that Scarlett would, I don't know, fuck around or do something to Gargano, but that was just like, no. Like, can you put some kind of like hex on him or something? That would be great.
Yeah,
Maybe that'll
I'm not
help you
into...
with humor. But I
I
don't
will
think
say
so.
that the Austin Theory getting more and more goofy and silly is really taken away from me being able to even enjoy his in-ring stuff, because he's great in the ring. He's an awesome wrestler, but yeah, the more goofy he gets, the more I'm so like, I don't know, because now he's starting to sell like a fucking cartoon, and I used to have a problem with The Rock and Shawn Michaels when they would sell like that with stuff. You know what I mean? Even as a kid, I was like, what the fuck is he doing? Like, I've always been that way. So yeah, it didn't help.
Yeah, it doesn't help being with Gargano. So.
Yeah. Let's see. Gargano and Theory attacked Bronson Reed backstage. Oh, yeah. Fucking. And then Johnny was yelling at Regal. And then he jumps Reed. Reed gets all mad, cuts a badass promo, and he gets a steel cage match next week against Gargano, which could be fucking cool. Let's see. Spinner Fox has a couple questions in here, though. He did say RIP to Ricochet. He thinks he should have gone back to NJPW. I don't know. Maybe. Let's see. He says Marty, RIP that dude.
Oh, yeah.
He says, you say you miss Ricochet. He wrestles every week. That's my whole point about the women's show. When it's like, hey, I miss... Or when people are like, hey, there should be a women's wrestling show by itself. I said, no, there shouldn't, because you don't watch wrestling you want to watch now. I was like, if I told you that Ricochet wrestled every week, would you watch it? Oh, hell yeah. Well, he does. On Main Event, he wrestles every week, and he's just had his third match with Mustafa Ali that was amazing. I mean, no. If you guys missed him, you would watch him, because he's performing every week. So fucking relax on that.
I didn't know that.
See? Amanda's I got in trouble.
No, I know, but no, seriously though. I mean, it's like, it feels like it's underwhelming, to be honest, because
100%. I agree, but he's amazing, and the matches he has are great. Spin Fox asking what show I'm talking about. Main Event. It's literally called Main Event. It's on Hulu. It's on Peacock, I think, as well, and he wrestles every week. He has a match.
Yeah, but I think most people they were expecting more, not being on technically a YouTube type of show.
I agree 100%, but I also think there's still time. I do think that WWE is the type of company to get someone in a 5-year contract and sit on them for 3.5 years, and then go, okay, now we're ready for you. I do think that shit happens way too much. And that's the frustration. I don't know where Ricochet is in that world, but I feel like that they've done stuff with him. I feel like they keep working with him. I feel like something's going to happen with him at some point. And I feel like it's a patience game and a hard work game. I mean, look at Kofi. His story of 11 years. I mean, if you want to believe Drew McIntyre, it's taken him 20 years to do this. So, you know what I mean? Look at Bobby Lashley. Fuck. You want to talk about people going through shit that should have buried him over and over again? Bobby Lashley...
Yeah.
Bobby Lashley's a goddamn superhero of fucking work ethic and stay in the course. You know what I mean? Like, you want me to do what?
Cesaro
okay, then.
Yeah. I think, God, I want Cesaro to have a world title run before he retires.
Mm-hmm.
He needs it. He deserves it. He'd
Yeah.
fucking kill it.
I agree with all that. He does say Marty, RIP that dude. Maybe he'll be at Double or Nothing. I hope so. Something cool like that, but we'll see. He's asking what happened with Indy Hartwell. Did anything happen with Indy Hartwell besides that video package with her and Candice? Because I don't recall anything else with them.
I don't think so.
I don't think Candice and Indy made a physical appearance. I believe all they did was have a video package that showed them as champions, which was nice.
Yeah.
But I think that's all they did with.
Yeah, that was all they had.
Which did suck because I do think, like you, Indy and Candice are the best part of the way. They're actually entertaining and have decent comic timing and don't sound like children. Except Indy's kind of sounds like a child. But Gargano and Austin Theory are 100% children making children's jokes with children's timing. And it sounds like a horrible middle school play that you're forced to go to because your little sister's in it or some shit. And you're like, ugh.
Yeah.
Let's see. RVD and Mr. Perfect bestsellers. They were actually great sellers. 100% right on that for sure. He says, every week, what show you watch? Told you, main event. He said, main event is like what you think of AEW Dark, so relax. 100%. That's my point. It's out there on YouTube, just like everything else. And if you guys are watching Dark and how with as often as I hear about Dark and Elevation, and you should watch this, and that's where this match happens, or the fact they want to bring out Britt Baker and say she's been undefeated and she's a #1 contender, but hasn't wrestled a single match on TV because it's all been on Dark. All right, well then we can also say, hey, did Ricochet had a fucking great match on main event this week too? Then how about that?
So salty. So salty.
That's a good point. That's true. Spinner Fox says if Indy didn't wrestle, then the NXT was a thumbs down. I mean, it could have been better. He says, so then you can watch Ethan Page on Dark. How about that? Well, you guys just told me there was no good Ethan Page match on Dark. How about that?
Elevation.
Elevation.
No, but I meant on the Indies. I meant on the
I was thinking that too. I know when he was in the North, apparently they had a bunch of great tag matches.
Oh, the North was excellent. Josh Alexander and him. Man, I was hoping they'd sign Josh Alexander, but
yeah.
I don't know.
Let's see. Oh, after the cross match though, they did that shot with Finn Balor standing behind Karrion Kross.
Yeah.
With as cool as that was and the things that they said, part of me feels like it was a little bit wordy. Because I do think it would have been kind of cool. Because remember when Karrion Kross showed up behind Finn Balor and he turned around and turned his head and just goes, "What took you so long?" It'd have been kind of cool if Karrion Kross did the same thing. Maybe do the full turn instead of like the head turn like Finn did. Do the full turn like he did and get in Finn's face and say, "What took you so long?" And just let it go to fucking credits.
Like pointing to the non-watch.
Yeah, that was weird. He was like, "My watch." I was like, "What are you, Kushida?"
I know. Like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Stealing gimmicks.
Splinter Fox says Josh's contract is almost up. I wonder what'll happen when he's done with that. But what do you think about this?
Oh,
the Finn Balor, Finn Balor and Karrion Kross were going to get a rematch. I'm fucking psyched. I thought that match was easily, in my book, it's still one of my contenders for match of the year. It was so good.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Still in my conversation.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Klump, you can also, is there anything you want to chime in about any of this that we've been talking about?
Oh,
We've talked
I'm
about a few
listening.
things.
It sounds good. Yeah.
I know. I'm just saying, if you want to because we get off the rails a little bit. And we don't always stay on topic. So if we branched off into a new topic, I'm just saying, I'm giving you the opportunity to.
Motherfucker, keep talking, motherfucker.
When I did the watch thing, he had an opportunity when I did the watch hand movement.
That'd have been perfect. The watch thing. Klump's like, shut up and keep talking.
Yeah. We'll talk about
MSK versus Breezango. So the highlight of this match, which is funny, is the referee Daryl Sharma did a drop down leapfrog over Tyler Breeze, and Nash Carter did a drop kick on Tyler Breeze as he came around. And then Daryl was all like hyped up, and he's like standing there jumping back and forth like, let's fucking go. It was a really cool moment. It was funny. I don't know. I guess it's just because I think it worked because it's MSK and Breezango. I don't know that I would have enjoyed it if it was anybody else in the ring, to be honest. I think it would have been like, what the
Yeah.
fuck are we doing that for? But MSK feels kind of like they have that same kind of youthful energy that DX kind of had, where everything was a little bit goofier than it might be otherwise, and it just seems okay, you know? And Breezango is just already a joke, so, you know, whatever they do, and they made it look clean, so it is what it
Yeah.
is. I heard someone make the comment where they said, oh, great, NXT is highlighting the referees are able to do things that their own talent can't do. And I did think, drop down leapfrog? That's where you're going with that? Like, all it shows is that Schwarmer went to at least 2 days of wrestling school.
He was a wrestler before he was a ref.
Yeah, he was a wrestler before he was a ref. I mean, that's not part of like the story necessarily, right? But I mean, it's the reality of it, and I can't imagine that any ref is in the ring enough and doesn't run the ropes at least a little. You know what I mean? So it's like it didn't show that he didn't fucking do a 450. So people
Yeah.
can sort of relax on that one.
Not like Rick Knox. I've seen Rick Knox pile drive people. I've seen him do all sorts of different things, you know, so I'm not shocked. Now, I would be shocked if, let's say Aubrey did something. I'm like, oh God, no, no,
Yeah.
no. Mm-mm, no.
So what do you think of all this,
Girlfriend.
Amanda?
Keep your day job. Well, you know, MSK, one, I'm glad people weren't booing because that was getting annoying to me. And one of the things that I really love about them, because we all know I love MSK, but one of the things I love is kind of what you're saying with them and Breezango. I mean, you already know they're jokey and whatever, but I love the fact that MSK has a lot of range because you can see them do something like that's kind of ridiculous and funny. And oh, the work phone's ringing. Or you see I lost my train of thought, work phone. You see them like with that match with Grizzly Young. That's still, again, that's my, you know, still one of the match of the year contenders too. But, you know, and it's great, you know, because it's a different style. So I think that that's what makes everything enjoyable. And that's why I think that I kind of enjoyed the match. But then I always sit there whenever I see the two of them, Breezango, I'm always like, oh, I feel so bad for them. But yeah. That's it.
No, I get you. I do really like MSK. I liked their little shit talk into the camera.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, MSK is
Yeah,
incredible.
They're fun.
Let's see. After that, Leon Ruff wanted a match against Regal, or not against Regal. He goes into Regal's office. That promo was great though. The way he was screaming and fired up, and what's it gonna fucking take for me to get a goddamn match around here? I'll fuck you up your butthole. I mean, he said other stuff, but that's kind of what it felt like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Leon Ruff's like, I can fit my whole leg. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's a small guy.
Absolutely.
He kind
Leon
of,
is-
it was kind of that vibe. He's like, look, Regal. Comes in covered in jelly.
Doing the okay.
Yeah.
That's right.
What?
Clump's like, if I use the wrong slang right now, everyone's gonna know a lot of secrets about me.
Uh-oh. What's that?
Amanda, what do you think
word?
about this? I thought this promo was fantastic. He was fired up. Although I said it even last week, I believe it was episode 1, that little concerned with how much they pushed Leon Ruff as a contender, just because like it can elevate Leon and I think not elevate others. Like I don't think it helped Swerve to have such a hard time putting away Leon Ruff. But I
Yeah.
do love that Leon Ruff is still so fired up. There's something about that character that works and connects. But I feel like I'm
Yeah.
always on eggshells when I'm watching it. So I don't know. What do you think of it?
Well, you know, I like the promo a lot because he's the, I like to call him the little engine that could, you know, and kind of think about that story. And it's cool, but at the same time, there's legitimate people that you're like, why are you making some of these people have a hard time beating him? Swerve comes to mind, obviously, but you know, I don't know. I mean, you want to root for the underdog, but then again, you're like, you know, I don't know. It's I don't think that's a good way to push someone at another person's expense like that, who you know is gonna just rock it to the top or whatever. But I like the promo. I loved it.
I agree.
Mhm.
Yep. I agree with all that. Let's see. And then we ended up with Pete Dunne coming out, cutting a promo. He's really starting to get like "Prove Me Wrong" to be like his thing. Yeah, I think we might get a
Yeah.
Pete Dunne "Prove Me Wrong" T-shirt. You know,
Oh Lord.
well, a little
Oh,
Ringo
God.
Starr-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll agree with that.
Yeah.
I'm getting old.
Nobody
I'm
wants to
kinda getting
fight
sick of
me.
it.
Prove me wrong.
Prove me wrong.
Yeah, it's Ringo Starr. Yeah. Prove me wrong.
Well, now you sound like Drew McIntyre. What's up with that?
Yeah. But what? What do you mean? I know. What was it the other day we were watching and producer goes, Pete Dunne would have such an amazing match with Marty Scurll. I'm like, you're goddamn right he would. But Pete Dunne comes out, says, "Prove me wrong," and then Leon Ruff comes out, kicks him in the leg. So then they have a match, and Pete Dunne breaks every single one of his fingers and leaves him dead.
Yeah.
And it kind of went the way you would think.
Well, Leon, you wanted a match.
Yeah.
That was my.
Give
That
me
was
what I
my.
want.
Not that much.
I'm like, well, you wanted a match, and you got one. So we sacrificed.
This made me
fingers.
think of like the end of the Finn Balor Pete Dunne match where he usually does the finger guns and he just kind of like did this with his hands, like his fingers don't move anymore. So fucking funny.
You know what's great is when I don't remember who it was in ROH when Marty would break the fingers. There was someone, I think because they were double jointed, and I got to remember who it was. It always looked so bad because they were double jointed. And I always would get creeped out. I'm like, oh, that's gross because it really looked real. But
Look
you
bad.
know.
So dope. So good.
Is that real? I can't answer that. I know how to do it, but yeah,
Nice.
I was taught.
But that was a cool match. It was fun. It was better than you would think, and I think that that's one of those things where, yeah, Leon Ruff looked good in that, but it went kind of how it should, so it was good.
Yeah.
Let's see, and you know what? Maybe part of it is, I mean, if Leon's gonna be a jobber, if he's gonna be an enhancement talent, there's no better way to enhance another talent than being a talent that people care for. So he may have just figured out how to be the best enhancement talent in all of the history of NXT.
Probably.
If I'm going to be losing to get people to make them look like they're dominant, people are going to really care that I'm in that match to begin with.
Yeah. That's
let's
I
see.
think that's fair.
Which is kind of cool. What do you think about it? See, so the next thing we got was a Frankie Monet video package where she's going to be premiering in 2 weeks, and it was a cool little video package. I liked it.
Wait.
It was a
I
nice
thought it
little
was
way to
next.
remind you she's still there. It said 2 weeks.
That was next.
No, it said 2 weeks.
Well,
I
it was
know.
2 weeks last week, I thought.
No, it was 2 weeks this week.
Oh,
So now it's
they
in 2
lied.
weeks.
They lied. Someone lied.
It's going to be a match, right? That's what the premiere means? Or do you think they're going to do some other goofy shit?
I hope it's a match.
I hope it's a match. Do you think?
Yeah.
Think it's
or
gonna be against
what
Zoe?
is it? Someone maybe. Or what is someone gonna bring their dog and there's like a puppy bowl, you know?
Oh, that'd be
They
awesome.
have a Super Bowl. Yeah.
That'd
I mean, I
actually
don't
be
know.
really good.
That'd be bougie. Bougie as
I'd
shit.
actually love it if we had like a 20-minute puppy bowl.
Yeah.
You could put Carmella's dog in there, Peanut. Those two dogs probably have a ball.
Oh man, put Natty's cat in there.
Two paws?
Yeah, 2 paws. That'd be fun.
Yeah. Splinter
I
Fox
think-
says
I
he's calling
think-
it. It's going to be some goofy shit. That's what I'm afraid of. I think it's going to be some goofy shit, but I hope it's actually just a match. I hope it's just a cool match that she has with somebody. Maybe that badass girl who does the sunset flip or whatever. No, the shooting star press.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't remember her name. I'm not good with names though, so it's not her, it's me.
Cool Zoe Starks package.
They did a really good Zoe Starks package with Tony Storm.
Mhm.
They both
was
did
beautiful.
awesome.
Mhm.
That was a great package, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was probably of the packages they did. I think that was probably the best one of the evening. It edged
Yeah.
out Candace and Indy just a little hair. I think.
I would say definitely, yeah, because the other stuff was all kind of like laughy, goofy stuff. This like felt like a couple competitors. This felt like a pre-fight kind of thing. It was It was good. It was solid. Said she's gonna be the Cruella DeVille of NXT. Wouldn't that be fucking awesome if they started having all sorts of characters have dogs that just go missing?
Yes.
And she
And
just
they
comes
become
out in
coat.
like a real patchy, mangy fucking fur coat one day. And
That'd be
goes, holy
amazing. Or
shit!
no,
She skinned all of their dogs. Like, can you imagine the heat? That'd be so good.
you know what would be even better is if Morrison comes out wearing the coat. made of
Morrison
the-
has a
the
patchy
dog.
ass fucking fur coat.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So good.
Bring the coat back. Bring the coat back, Johnny. Bring it back. That'd be fun. Creepy, but fun.
We did get Mercedes Martinez versus Raquel Gonzalez. This was a pretty fucking badass match.
Yeah. I
liked it. What'd you think?
yeah, I liked it better than I thought I was going to like it. So it was very surprising. Loved it. And I think that it was very, in a way, I think it was a really powerful, it was a very powerful match. And I think kind of that's, and it's a statement. And I think that, you know, it kind of, if people were not kind of buying Raquel being the champ, that this kind of shut them up. Because,
Yeah,
you know, you
this
get
was a
into-
good one to have.
but yeah.
This was a really good contender match to have because, you know, obviously I was complaining even earlier about the idea of champions not defending it. And I don't think you need to defend it every fucking week, but I do think, you know, maybe a defense once in a while on TV. It should be defended every pay-per-view if you're not going to do it on TV.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea that Raquel's gotten a couple of defenses under her belt against some pretty good contenders, and using someone like Martinez there, I think is really good, especially making Martinez look so good.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I did too.
Finn Fox says, "Is that what it's become now with Indy?" No, I'm not saying she was a joke. I'm saying that thing was kind of like a sort of silly. It was them celebrating them being champions, and they were doing like an Avengers thing, and they were dressed in superhero things. So it was fine. It wasn't like it was not as bad as a lot of the comedy stuff they do there. It was just like a kind of a fun, cute little package about how they're champions and they're happy and they're like the Avengers of NXT, and you're like, okay, that's a nice little thing. But the Tony and Zoe back and forth promo package was a couple of fighters talking shit on each other, and I just liked that more, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Oh no, he says he's talking about Cruella DeVille. Yeah, no,
Oh.
that's what I want. I want her to fucking skin some cats and dogs and make into a coat. Because why was it not the main event? I mean, we did wonder that, why the main event wasn't Martinez and Gonzalez. And I don't know that I have a good reason why it wouldn't have been. Because even after I look at it, all the matches were great. And the main event was Kushida and Escobar. And it was a fantastic match. It was 2 out of 3 falls. But I do think that the women's title is elevated above that.
Hold on a
Personally.
sec. Hold on.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just because it was a 2 out of 3 falls match. Do you think maybe they just wanted to put, if it was going to be sort of a gimmicky match, put that at the end? Because it was going to be the decisive victory and end of a storyline, where with Raquel and Martinez, it could theoretically keep going?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think so, but I'll be interested to see what happens. I kind of want to now see Dakota and Mercedes. Now, just to see what that would look like.
Yeah.
But I
don't
hope
have
at
any
the
problems with
end-
any of that.
Yeah, and I hope at the end of the day that it's going to be Raquel versus Dakota at some point.
That's what
I can't
Splinter
wait
Fox
for that.
thinks too. He thinks that Dakota Kai is going to take the title off Raquel.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
I think it's super possible, but I don't know. Something about it just seems like a little too obvious, and I don't know if they're going to do that.
Well, maybe
I
they
think
might
that-
build it.
I think at the very least, Dakota's going to cost Raquel the title. I think that what you'll probably see is that Dakota gets involved in such a way that Raquel loses it, and Dakota takes the title off of whoever took it off Raquel. So it could look like Dakota got the title off of Raquel because she knew she couldn't beat Raquel, but knew she could beat whoever the other person was. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. But I think that if they build it right, that could be for SummerSlam.
Yeah.
That could be, you know, one of the
Huge.
main. Well, I don't know if they're going to do 2 like they did with WrestleMania, but that could be almost like a main event caliber to have that.
And you could even build it to where Kai costs Raquel the title. She squeezes herself into a title match before Raquel gets a shot at it, and she gets the title off that person because she knew she could win. And then you can build a little bit of you did that because you knew you couldn't beat me, and then maybe you actually get to like a takeover event of Dakota versus Raquel, and Dakota maybe retains against Raquel. And then you really solidify something, and Raquel moves on. Like, I don't know. I think it's all possible. It's all interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see. Talking about Quella. Yep. So let's talk about this. Because it happened. Isaiah Swerve Scott introduced his new stable, Hit Row. You put the letter S in front of Hitman. You got my exact thoughts on the guy. It's an old Stone Cold promo. It says, and he promised that NXT was not ready for this group. Top Dollar, Ashante, the Adonis, and B-Fab is the group. Here's the deal. I watch Hidden Treasures, so seeing Top Dollar be a bad negotiator and all-around friendly guy on Hidden Treasures, super friendly guy, begs people to take what little money he has, and then the second they say no, he goes, we'll call Triple H then. Like, he's not a negotiator. To see him come out and do a weird rap and try to, like, scare you was a little weird. And that might be on me watching the other show. Here's the deal. Let's start with this. Klump, did you see the segment? It sounds like you may have.
Nope. I did not.
Then why did you say oh my god about all this?
I
you see pictures
heard about it. I was just I saw some pictures. I was like, and I heard about it. I was like, okay. I mean, it's an intro of a new faction. That'd be cool. We talk about seeing new stables and factions and being awesome. I don't know. Introing factions is always rough unless they're like, it's either great or rough. So it could go fantastically, but I'm not super pumped for it right now, you know?
All right.
It doesn't really it doesn't feel like there's any one person that truly stands out. It's like, oh hell yeah, they got this, they can do this. I like Swerve, but I don't know, I'm not ready for it. He's right.
All right, Amanda, what do you think of this segment before I tell you my silver
I thought it
linings?
was
Because I got a few silver linings out of this, but
okay, well, I'd
Amanda,
love to hear that, but I thought it was goofy, and I'm like, oh no, swerve. I mean, he looked happy, but I mean, no.
It
so let me
definitely
hear
felt
your silver linings, because I didn't think there was any.
So it definitely felt like an extension of the character that he's been building. He's finally out of that production room, and now he's got his whole team there, which in those videos there was always kind of rumblings around him. You could never see anybody, so no one was ever introduced. So the idea of him being around or having a, quote, entourage, or how do they call this? They say a different thing? No.
His posse.
But his posse, that's a good one. In that regard, like, I felt like it worked in that sphere. I felt like he is a heel. So if he really doesn't care about getting honest heat where people are going to boo him, because honestly, I'll be honest. I don't think the idea that fans cheer, boo all the heels because, oh, I love a good heel. Oh, MJF is a great heel because he's so good. He's just amazing. That's not heat at all. You know what I mean? So I will say that it appears that this has some heat on it because people are already like, what the fuck is going on here? As he's cutting the promo, the people are in the background with him just being like, yeah, say it. Oh, yeah. And I was like, I don't like that at all. But if I'm going to go into the world of potential real heat, then that could easily be it because A, it's going to make me uncomfortable, and B, it's something we've never seen before. It's different than we've ever seen. So it's something new. And I wonder if this is the kind of character that might connect to a younger audience that sees themselves as pseudo producers. I think of my buddies when we were in high school and we all had turntables and we were all producers of sorts, DJs as it were. It feels like that's the kind of character that someone like that would probably be able to latch onto and be like, oh yeah, I could see being a part of Hit Row, you know? So I think that there is potentially an audience for this character that would connect to it. And I do think that there's an audience that will not like this character. And I think that both are functional.
I saw a lot of positive on my feed.
You saw a lot of positive stuff about it? All right.
A lot
That's
of
good.
positive and also quite a few that hated. So it's polarizing.
Yeah.
Which
Like I
isn't
said,
bad.
as soon as I saw it, I was like, well, I don't like them saying that in the background. I don't like that one bit. I fucking hate this. And I was like, boo this man. Someone go out there and kick his ass. Get them to stop. And I was like, well,
People who've never seen Swerve were like, who is this?
he definitely stands out.
All of a sudden, I was like, he's been there.
He definitely stands out. So I think those are all things that could be utilities in the wrestling atmosphere. That doesn't mean this won't be horrible and fail. It doesn't mean this is going to be the largest success and become the number one thing of all time. It just means it's not dead in the water right now. And there's, I think, a lot of ways you can go with it. And I do think that Swerve being involved gives me hope that it's going to be pretty cool because he's great. Some of these other people I just don't know.
When you say that, like, you don't think it's going to be the greatest thing ever, I feel like it's not going to be the greatest thing in the world from the people in it. And shouldn't I feel like you're trying to make this the greatest thing in the world? You're trying to push and sell it. Now, again, I just said this. This is the first time I've seen it or heard about it. So it's rough. It's new. We'll see how it goes. But I feel like it's just another... Like, I already feel like this is just another middling thing aiming at something that whatever.
I mean, I think that's possible. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying it will be. I'm not saying it won't be. I'm saying I don't know what it will be, but I do think there's potential with it. This isn't like some of the stuff you see where you're going, yeah, good fucking luck with that. You know what I mean? Like almost most of Lars Sullivan's promos where he's going to go, yeah, good fucking luck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just saying, sometimes you see stuff, you just go, yeah, good luck. You know, like with even with all the Lana Bobby stuff, a lot of it was like, yeah, good luck with all that. We'll see how that goes.
They came through.
They did a lot with it.
Look at them now.
Yeah, and look at them now. But there are times you see something and you just go, yeah, good fucking luck, dude. They've given it to you. This doesn't feel that way. It feels like there's potential, but it does feel like a delicate balance.
Abraham laughed and said felt it.
Oh, yeah? Little baby Abby coming through, stalking, looking, lurking.
He's on the YouTube.
Little baby Abby on the YouTubes. What's up? Cheers to Abe coming through and hanging.
Oh.
Ugh. So, yeah, that's what I got on that.
You got more
Fired
out
me
of
up
it
a
than
little
I
bit.
did.
Yeah, so, I mean, hopefully we'll see what happens with it. I hope he doesn't cut like 6 promos in a row before we see him in a fight. Because I want somebody to get involved in that fast. But the other thing is, how many factions do they even have in NXT right now? They could run roughshod on a lot of people.
Yeah.
Just the way, right?
The way, but you know.
Oh, God. That's where this is going.
Oh God.
This is definitely going towards the way for the North American title. And
Oh
that
my
woman's
God,
going
do
to
you
be
think-
having some sort of back and forth with Indy and Candice.
We haven't seen anything,
So are these
Yeah.
other people supposed to wrestle?
I figured if you're in a wrestling ring, you better goddamn wrestle unless you're wearing a
I
suit.
don't
Suddenly a chess tournament. Okay.
You know, I mean, one of them could be like a manager. You know, I mean, I don't know, but
They're all hype men.
yeah, they're a hype men.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess it's possible. I guess we'll find out. We'll find out. All I'm saying is it doesn't feel dead in the water. It feels like there's potential. It could all go south after this. We'll see what happens.
Got it. Okay.
Speaking of going south, we're talking about going down south. We're talking about going up north to the moon. Cameron Grimes. He, Cameron Grimes, was trying to win an auction for a house. He was trying to get it for about $2 million. He would got outbid at the $2 million. He goes, "Who would pay $2 million for this house?" Gets bid up.
Ted DiBiase.
Bid up. Ted DiBiase. I don't know how you guessed it, Klump. But Ted DiBiase bought that piece of shit house for like $80 million.
Yo, that was not
What's
a
up?
piece of shit house.
Who says?
It's in
That
Tampa.
was
It's a
John
piece of shit.
Cena's home. Didn't you watch Total Divas?
It's in
And I know producer lady can vouch for me on that one.
Central Florida. It's a piece of shit house. Just a big piece of shit
It's,
house.
Well,
it's seen
I'm
as
just
piece of shit
saying.
house, and that's what counts.
Yeah, it's seen as piece of shit.
I will say, Cena
She's got
living in
bad
a
taste.
house to me gives it more value. If I'm looking at a house, I'm like, I can't pay that much. Like John Cena used to live here. I'm like, it's a fair price. Let's do it.
Yeah,
Let's lock this down.
but I think
That just-
they were. I don't know. Go ahead.
Right. You don't want to just be in his essence, Klump?
What does that mean? It just has more
More
space for like
essence.
headbands that are put on biceps.
More essence. What? No, people have seen the Dark Crystal. More essence.
Not that old.
What?
Just keep going.
All right. Klump makes a good point. He's not that old. There was a new version.
That
Oh, when did that
Yeah.
come out? 30 years ago?
Such a son of a bitch. Goddamn son of a bitch. So Cameron Grimes loses the house to the $1 Million Man. They had a back and forth. It was actually good. It was more than just one line. And I was like,
Yes.
this is amazing. However,
Mhm.
where the fuck does this go? And on top of that, how great is it that this has been the same shit for 4 weeks?
And it's still not old.
Nope.
It's still not old. How crazy is that?
I know. That is the power. That is the power of Cameron Grimes, because
It would-
It makes
people
no sense.
are loving this shit because it's different. Okay, it's not. I can't. Like when you think of like rednecky hillbilly people. I always think of like Tracy Smothers. I think of the Briscoes. I think of Hillbilly Jim.
Oh,
and
I got you.
um,
In wrestling, you
Uncle
meant.
Elmer, was it? I can't remember. But anyways,
Yeah.
that's what I think of.
Mad
But
Dog
this
Vachon
is
comes
something.
to mind in the overalls.
Yeah. I
Right.
mean, but this is something like greater, and it's refreshing because there's nothing like it anywhere, any company,
That's true.
nothing,
It is wild.
and
Klump,
it's
who do
very
you think
current.
of when you think of hillbillies?
What do
Jim.
you think?
Hillbilly Jim.
Gotcha. Perfect.
Jim, yeah.
The Godwins.
Yeah. I was
that's a good
forgetting
one.
someone.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Um,
I kind of feel like Trevor Murdoch feels kind of hillbilly in a way.
Yes.
Feels like a truck driver. Yeah.
Yeah, like a truck driver, like, you know?
Yeah, he's got issues of Nugget stuck under the seat of his truck. You know?
Yeah. 100%. I feel like also if you ask Trevor Murdoch, where can I meet you up at? He says, I'll just be at the warehouse. I feel like that'd be a normal thing to hear.
No, he just says like interstates, but only the number. I'll meet you at the intersection of the I-80 and the.
I'll meet you at that Love's truck stop.
I'll
At the
meet you at the
roundabout.
Love's
Route
off of the I-80.
66. Yeah.
I'll be at the roundabout.
He knows
100%.
all.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's just wild that we've been seeing it for weeks. It's the same spot every time. You know what's happening. It happens, and you go, "That was so satisfying. It was so good." It feels like it's so good. I don't know why. This is exactly the kind of thing that I should not like. Yeah.
Well, see, that's what's funny to me is because
It is
you
kind of
don't
like going
the,
to.
the bullshit on AEW, but this you love.
That's what I mean. This is the kind of thing I
Yeah.
shouldn't like, but I
I
like
know,
it for whatever reason. Something about it
And
just
thrown
seems
for a loop.
different. And you know what I think part of it is though? This is a celebration of $1 Million Man, not a mockery of.
Yes,
Yeah.
I
Definitely.
agree with that.
Camera grabs. But
You that man.
You
I
don't
do
know.
wonder, where do you think this goes? Producer lady, she thinks that at some point they stop bickering and Cameron Grimes tries to get onto $1 Million Man's team and he becomes his money manager.
Mhm.
I don't know if that would play into anything other than skits or if it would eventually be a wrestling manager as well. Where do you I don't know where this goes at all. Where do you think this goes, Klump?
I would like them to join forces against Vince McMahon. Like that, they keep getting sillier and sillier with their money, and then suddenly there's a pot. Like they're talking, and then Vince just walks in and says, "I pay you both," and then walks out of the room, and they look at each other and join forces. And buy WWE.
It'd be so funny. They at least try.
Yeah.
They're pretty good. What do you think, Amanda? Where do you think it goes?
You know, I really don't know. The only thing I can, like I said last week on episode 1, You know,
Yeah.
I don't know why I feel like Virgil is going to come along at one point. I don't know why. I just feel that, but I don't know. I mean, there's so many things they can do. And then part of me was like, oh, well, maybe all of a sudden, you know, like something does happen with him and DiBiase, and then we might see just a weird return of his son, and Cameron Grimes wrestles his son.
Oh,
That's a
that
good
could be.
offshoot. But, you know, other than that, yeah, don't have anything else for you.
DiBiase's son used to wrestle a long time ago and's been absent. That could be cool.
Wasn't he the Marine too? Yeah, the
Might have
Marine
been
too.
one of the Marines. I believe he was.
He was the second one.
That could be
And
great.
then Miz took
That
the
could be really
franchise.
cool.
They had a lot of hope for him.
Yeah.
A lot of hope.
Well, yeah, and
I
then
guess
he went. Well, and he always did good, but I guess eventually it came down to like a family thing, and he ultimately went and opened up like a church camp or something like that.
Really?
Which apparently he does well. Yeah.
Oh.
I saw a little show on him. It doesn't seem like one of the ones that like taser people or tries to fix people. It seems like one of those good ones where it's like kids go camping and learn how to start a fire.
Like how you said they don't do weird things and taser people. Wow.
And I really
Because
hope
that happens
I'm
at
gonna
church
find out.
camps.
Does it?
So yeah, Abraham's saying that he wants the bushwhackers back. That's who he thinks about with the hillbillies. Can you imagine if they did that though? I mean, only one of the bushwhackers is still alive, but
Yeah, I was gonna say.
can you imagine if they did something where Cameron Grimes' dad turns out to be one of the bushwhackers?
I support this. No,
Mhm.
I would
no,
love
no,
it.
Michael
love
P.S.
it.
Hayes.
There you go.
Well, no, because
Yeah.
they already did that they already had the thing where he's all like Michael P.S. Hayes. Remember? Because he was like, "Get in the car, boy," or whatever. Like it wasn't his dad. Like
Oh yeah, that's right.
I think it'd be
Yeah.
good. Yeah, I think it would be good if they did like a bushwhacker turns out to be his family member.
Bushwhackers, that's great.
Let's see. There's only 2 more things left of the night, so far as I can tell. If I double check. Yep, only 2 more things. We had the Kyle O'Reilly versus Oney Lorcan with Pete Dunne in his corner match. O'Reilly wins, then Pete Dunne and Oney Lorcan, prove me wrong, goes in there and beats the shit out of O'Reilly until Booby Fish comes running in, looking like a real hipster, beats the shit out of a dude, and O'Reilly literally says, "It's cool, man, but I'm like kind of doing my own thing now." You're like, it's heated. This feels good. And Fish goes, yeah, no, I get it. You're doing your own thing. I'm kind of doing my own thing, and I got my own scores to settle, you know. And O'Reilly's like,
See you when I
right,
see
good. I mean, I'm just glad you understand. I was like, the sexual tension here is insane. These dudes gonna fuck. There's no way they're not, right? They go about their merry way. They don't actually do it. But a lot of tension, a lot of awkwardness, a lot of shyness, kind of rubbing their toe into the mat like, I don't know, man. It was good. Amanda, what'd you think about this? Did you feel it?
Okay.
Did you feel the heat?
When I saw Bobby Fish come out, I like screamed. I was like, ah. Of course I'm watching it at work, so people are probably like, what the hell? But I was so excited about it. But it was kind of weird because, you know, there was that awkwardness that you were talking about. And I was just like, these guys have been together forever. It's like, yeah, I know it's weird because, oh yeah, we're not friends with, you know, I'm not friends with Adam Cole anymore, whatever, la la. But yeah, I think I didn't expect Bobby to be back yet.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe. I don't know. It was really interesting. And I'm surprised that my timeline didn't buzz about Bobby Fish because I have a couple of friends that love him and no one said anything. So it's a pleasant surprise for me. What I hope comes up, excuse me, hiccups. I hope that we get to see a Bobby match versus Kyle. I'd love to see that. I mean, you already did it
I'd
with
have no
Adam
problems with
Cole,
it.
but I don't think Bobby will be psycho like Adam Cole. But,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we get a few Roddy versus Bobby. Or no, Roddy like left, right? So
Roddy's gone. Yeah.
maybe
Now,
we
see,
get
I
Bobby
didn't
and
know
Adam
if-
Cole.
Maybe. But I didn't know, like with Roddy, was that like seriously like he's not doing it anymore? Or is
No.
it just he needs some time off?
I don't
Or-
think they would. If it were real, they wouldn't do it like on TV like that. Like if they liked someone, they would like.
Maybe they
do
don't
what
like Roddy.
they wouldn't do it like that. Like
No.
they wouldn't waste the time on it. If they didn't like him, they just release his ass. If they liked him, they do something like what they did with Mox when he was Dean.
Yeah.
It's a work, but it's a cool long work. I mean, I think it's good to give it some time. Like, something I struggle with a lot with like AEW and a lot of places is we're gonna do this, give it time. Don't have somebody come back in a week. Jericho would have been great with some time off. So same with the Inner Circle. I don't care about his ass appearing with a broken arm. Give him time.
Yeah.
It's obviously you pay him by appearance.
Did Jericho come out with a broken arm
He
thing?
had some stupid ass cast shit on.
Yeah.
No, nice.
He'd
I
been
did.
jacking off
I did
twice.
read that Brian Alvarez is trying to assure everybody that it's absolutely real and definitely actually happened.
It looked like the kind of injury like a kid going through a boy through puberty would get.
Did it look like one of those like weird stucco casts like Bob Orton used to have, where like this clearly falls apart after a while?
No, it had like a brace to it and stuff like that.
Nice.
Like it had medley things on it.
Let's see.
But they could go to the
Strong
cast
says-
store.
Splinter Fox says strong to 205 or main event. Put Dunn on there too. Yeah, dude, they can wrestle Ricochet every week. Dick. And he goes dislocated elbow. Maybe.
You're just gonna grind that in, aren't you?
Yeah, I am.
Oh yeah, you can watch Ricochet every week.
I watch Ricochet and Roddy Strong.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that injury. I just saw that Brian Alvarez was like, it was real. It's definitely real. Absolutely happened. Totally happened. He did the fall. That's how he hurt himself. It was on the fall. And I was like, okay, he's really trying to drive it home, I guess. But I don't really listen to them or pay attention to that kind of stuff. So, let's see. The last thing that happened on the show: 2 out of 3 falls. NXT Cruiserweight Championship. Kushida versus Santos Escobar. Woo! This was just an awesome match. I don't know if there's like much to say about it because it was just so solid.
Oh, it was totally solid. Totally.
Yep.
And again, I keep saying, every time I see Santos Escobar wrestle, I'm just like, man, just gets better and better, and I'm getting more hooked into it.
Yeah.
So
We were nervous about his outfit right away. As soon as he comes out of his gear with the huge mariachi hat and the
thought that was
mariachi
great.
like jackets. At first we're all like, But as he got into the light and you realized it all kind of matched and it was shades of green to go with his gear, I was like, all right, that's pretty cool.
I noticed
pretty
that
good.
at first. I was like, this is badass. Look at that. I mean, only because I think that on NXT, I think they have the best gear.
Yeah.
Hands down.
And they didn't go too far with it. They weren't going out there with instruments and stuff, and they weren't all in it, and they didn't have the fucking belt buckle.
That would have been hilarious. I would have loved that.
No, it would not, Amanda. That'd have been terrible.
No! You know, some culture sometimes is nice.
Yeah, but
And
there's
that probably
also a
people
line.
would bitch about it being insensitive. So
Yeah, that's what I mean.
But
I thought
I
they
would
did a very
enjoy
good
it.
job with this. Well, when you come and visit, we'll take you to what's the one out here? Makayo's. Or yeah, but there's always the mariachis are at Makayo's.
I love mariachi.
No, you want to take him to Minidito, the one where Bill Clinton went. It's not great, but Bill Clinton went there.
Yeah.
Like
It was
I always love how it's pitched. Like we gotta go there. Bill Clinton went there, and it's never like a positive after. It's like yeah, it's Mexican food.
I love Mexican.
What's the
There's
one
a
over there
lot.
on Broadway in Kolb by the diner? There's a really nice Mexican restaurant over there. It's always got mariachis.
Rodine Kolb.
What's that one? Is that also Makayo's? That might also be Makayo's.
Rodine
I
Kolb?
just-
Shit, I'm trying to think. Like
It's gone. Lunar says it's gone.
Yeah,
Forget
yeah.
it.
I'm like no. That's I'm like there's the '50s diner that makes pizza that's terrible, and you can get them to put strawberry syrup in your Bud Light, which is not a good mix.
Yeah, and it's connected to the gas light.
Oh.
Fast reaction. Oh no, why?
Split
Um,
Fox says,
there's-
wait, you're against belt buckle, but you're for somebody stealing pets. Yes. No, yeah,
Yes.
being Cruella DeVille and stealing everyone's pets and making a code out of it gets you heat. Wearing a belt buckle is just ridiculous, and it's pushing a line. Lunar does say hit him up if you need Mexican restaurants. So when you come and visit, we'll get you to a mariachi. Don't you worry about it.
Oh
but-
yeah.
Whoa, Lunar's too thin to recommend Mexican food.
What?
No,
I'm
he works
sorry.
out so much because he's going to continue to eat Mexican food.
Yeah, no, but I'm fat.
Why do you
and
think he's
work out,
jacked?
too.
Yeah,
He's
but
not firing it all
You're
out
thin
like it's.
shaming. Quit thin shaming.
No, I wish I looked like
No, that's-
Geraldine. That's factual.
What did they call it on what did Hammerstone call it? It was gain shaming or fit shame. Like it was
Yeah, fit shaming.
no, it wasn't that one. It was like it was
No?
about being it was swole shaming. That's what it was. It was so
Oh,
funny.
okay.
That's what you're doing. You're swole shaming Lunar and his big muscles, rippling this guy.
He can fight me. He'll win. I know it. Like if he gets upset by it, I want to remind him: you could beat the living shit out of me. It's cool. You have hair. I don't have that even. You have things.
You're all just like laying down and you're just all like bloody and you're just like you're still wrong.
Yeah. You
talking shit.
I've seen your car. I drive a 2011 Kia that has the door dented in. You win at life.
You win where it
Give
counts.
me
Kid.
this. Yeah.
Lunar says, reported all of you. Grim Reaper does say, getting back on track here, Kushida has finally hit his stride in NXT. The Cruiserweight title is perfect for him to continue to build the title's prestige, and I agree entirely. What Santos has done with the Cruiserweight title is phenomenal, and Kushida building towards the Cruiserweight title, when we thought he was going for the North American, and we're like, why wouldn't you do it? I think it's because he was building a legitimacy that they needed on the Cruiserweight title. Not that Escobar didn't have the legitimacy, but they needed to move Escobar on, and they loved the legitimacy that was there. And I think that what we saw was Kushida build into a deadly wrecking ball to be the holder of that title, believable in a bunch of great technical matches. I don't know why he wrestled barefoot one week, but we got where we got. Fabtina says, Santos is everything I thought Andrade would be. I agree. And Splinter Fox says, Kushida's ring gear attire now. What the fuck? I have no problem with what he's wearing right now.
No,
I wasn't feeling him in the barefoot stuff and little shorts, but
Yeah.
I think what he's wearing now looks fine.
Yeah.
I think he's gone through a few phases where I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. I wasn't in love with the jeans, but it was okay.
Really?
I think this ring gear looks fine. Yeah.
That's so iconic of Kushida. You know,
Yeah.
Back to the Future look. Yeah,
Which was fine. I'm just saying, I didn't love it. I wasn't like, this is my favorite gear he has. I just went, okay.
That
It
literally
doesn't look
scared-
bad. It just wasn't my thing. I like this gear a lot. He says time breaker attire for life. People
Yeah,
gotta
it's-
change it a little bit.
He wears tight roll jeans and Nike high tops that aren't quite Air Max but are close.
Nice. Well, because the Air Max are expensive as fuck, right? Can't be wrestling.
You
in
could
that
make
shit.
fake ones. You could just make
Oh,
get
okay.
some gray wrestling boots and put some Nike swoosh on. You'll be fine. You don't have to buy the $10,000 ones.
I guess that's an option.
Yeah. You don't have to be like the Bucks, or you can buy fakes.
Like the Bucks.
No,
Like the
there's no
Bucks.
shame in that.
Yeah.
I will say this: if you're wearing those Dior sneakers to the ring, I want to I hate you for how stupid it is. It's dumb that they cost that much, but dude, just buy fakes. This is why fakes exist, you know?
No, they were fakes. I saw a couple. I don't know a lot of people who are really into sneakers, but I know a few, and I saw them light up. They're like, these motherfuckers, and we're all fucking pissed. They're fake sneakers, and I was like, that's kind of funny. I mean, it wasn't him, but it was in that same chat. There was other guys who he's friends with on that same level, but yeah. Lunar says Santos has higher ceiling because he can promo, and that's kind of my point. Andrade, I don't think ever could cut a promo, and I don't think it was I think it was his own fault. I mean, we even saw it on main roster this week. Who was it? Lucha House Party was on there, and they were cutting a promo, half in English, half in Spanish, and they were cutting promos on it right there on fucking SmackDown.
They're getting all serious.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it was a big fuck you to Andrade. I wouldn't mind if it was because I'm here for the pettiness. But every time, yeah. I mean, all the shit he talked when he left, and everyone's like, oh, it's because he... No, it's not. Otherwise, all these other people wouldn't exist the way that they do. And I agree. Santos can cut a goddamn promo because he can connect with the fans, and that's all you have to do. And Andrade never did that. I don't think he ever tried. But I digress. Anything you want to say about that 2 out of 3 falls match? I liked that Santos tapped out right away in the armbar. I thought that the commentary did a bad job of selling it because they should have been telling the story that he did that to protect his arm because he knew there was still a fall, and the longer he stayed in there, the more damage that would be done. Although Kushida then focused on the arm, so you know. But they didn't do a very good job of telling the story of why he tapped out. Like, oh, he tapped out right away. Yes, why? Tell me why he might, maybe. So.
Well, I don't know about you, didn't you? I thought the commentary was a little bit off.
Yeah. On
Yeah,
this match,
last
it seemed
night,
a little low
period.
energy for what the match was.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I did think that because even when the first fall happened, Vic goes, "Oh, that was the first fall," and you're all like,
I know. I was
"Yeah, like
yeah.
fucking fire up a little bit." Oh my God, he got the first fall, but he goes, "Oh,
Ooh. Yeah, I'm like, Vic, are
it
you
appears that was the
tired?
first
Like,
fall."
yeah, I'm like, Vic, what are you doing over
Yeah.
there? So,
Yeah. What happened, Vic? You're usually a little more fired up than this. Are you all right? Have a Skittle. He has passed out several times on commentary because he gets so fucking hyped up and low sugar. He's like passed out. So maybe he should keep it calm. Maybe he should calm down a little bit. Spinnerfox does say, I love how people were trashing Chris Stanlander about her fake Back to the Future shoes, which I saw that too. People were doing that. She had fake those fake ones, and she's like, look at my shoes. And then she trashed them back by saying, I know how to manage my money. He goes, got him, which is funny. I like the idea of someone saying, like, those are fakes. Why are you supporting them? She goes, yeah, of course I bought fakes because I just wanted something that looks kind of like it. It doesn't have to be the things. Those are expensive. I love when rational thought is the argument and the answer. I love it. I didn't see her clap back as it was, but I did see that some people were giving her shit, and I was also and the whole time on all of them, the Buck shoes and Chris Statlander's shoes, I just keep going, okay, like it's funny to me that maybe they may or may not know they're fake, right? That part's funny to me. I love the idea of someone actually ripping off the Young Bucks and being like they're definitely real, and then the Young Bucks find out on the internet they're not. I think that concept would be hysterical. I don't think it's true, but
No, I 100%. I like play into that. That'd be cool. Like I don't. It feels like they throw so much of the Young Bucks to make them everything at once, and just give them half of it. You know, they don't.
Yeah, lean in.
Nothing's sticking.
Spinner Fox says Mauro Ranallo was the best NXT announcer he has missed.
Yes.
I wholeheartedly disagree. I did not enjoy him on commentary at all.
yeah,
I do think that he's the best for boxing in UFC. I love him over there, but I don't think that guy knows how to tell a story, and I think his own jokes get in his own way, and I think that he's a one-man show, and it sucks when you don't hear anybody else. But I like him as a person, and I love what he does with UFC and boxing.
yeah. I mean, I think what they have now is just amazing. I like them. They're my favorite of what we have. My second favorite will be Taz Excalibur because that's just pure comedy.
I got you. Go ahead, Klump. Say all the nice things about Mauro.
I think he built a lot of excitement. I liked Morrow. Now, I do have criticisms. He was just a bit like it could be one note, but fuck, I loved him. He was fantastic. Like you could see the passion in it and everything there. So yeah, I liked him. I think I miss him in it. But that's just me.
Yeah, I like it because every now and again I get to watch a UFC fight or a boxing fight over at Kevlar's, and quite often he's the commentator on it, and I love it. I love hearing his voice. I love hearing him scream, get excited, calling stuff out, and I think that in boxing and UFC it works for that realm really well because it is kind of like not a lot of story here, just a couple people who are fighting because literally that's what the number said should happen and what we're doing. Or I think wrestling needs so much story that him trying to force in all those hip-hop quotes really took away from story at times. I just don't know that he was the best at telling the story of everybody else and not telling his own story. And I think him putting his own story into the boxing and the UFC works really well because there's not a lot of story there to begin with. And so I just felt like in wrestling, it wasn't the perfect fit. He's fantastic at announcing. I didn't think it was the perfect fit there. But I do think he's perfect in a lot of the other sports, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. I see that.
And I appreciate people who like him because I think that my favorite time hearing him announce was when we were in TakeOver Phoenix, and we were row 2, but on the other side of the ring, and we could hear him announcing. That was so funny. I loved that.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, because like something would happen and you'd hear Mauro yelling over the whole crowd. And I was like, that's so fucking good. If I don't have commentary to listen to, I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, if you don't like Morrow, there's some other people that I cannot stand. I just not into Riccaboni. I mean, Caprice Coleman, sometimes gets a little fired at because Riccaboni does whatever, but I didn't even like Riccaboni with Colt Cabana.
I don't remember
I
the
don't
two
think he
guys who
should
were on
be.
MLW's table, but I liked them.
Oh, I don't know
They were
who's on
pretty solid.
MLW's table.
Yeah.
That I don't
I don't know.
know.
We're gonna start watching
But
more of that.
yeah. And then I do love with the New Japan English commentary. I love it when Juicy Gambino's on with
Oh, that's cool.
Kevin Kelly. Yeah, I like that. And then I thought ELP did a phenomenal job, but he doesn't want to do it ever again. So whatever. But I
Wait.
love ELP. So
LP
El
from Run the
Phantasmo,
Jewels.
you don't know.
I'd be
Yes,
way
yes.
cooler if it was Run the Jewels. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, yeah, I agree. Something was a little off tonight on commentary. I do feel that most of the time, I think 9 out of 10 times, I'm gonna tell you the best commentary of the week was probably NXT, if not McAfee. I think McAfee's so fucking good, but
Of course.
he's so fucking funny. And the way he fucks with Michael Cole, so good. But I don't have anything else to say about NXT, guys. I think that was kind of what's going on. I think it was a fantastic match. I love that the title is in Kushida's hands, and I love that we're going to see a bunch of Kushida matches, because one of the cool benefits of a champion is they don't necessarily need a story to have a great contender. Obviously, injecting a massive storyline of two people and the titles on the line is fantastic. But when you have a technician like Kushida, who maybe can't cut super long form live interviews in front of a crowd, maybe he needs the pre-tapes and the subtitles and stuff, and maybe shorter lines. It doesn't take much for someone to say, you're clearly one of the best, and that's why you have that title, and I want to prove that I'm better than you by taking it. And then you can just have a match you care about. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I get that. But also,
Spinner Fox
I
does
think
say, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I think that, with the people who, English is not their first language, I think that was this, for me, I don't know, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that isn't NXT and the Performance Center designed to kind of help kind of get those kind of jitters out and kind of find a way that someone can, who's not a native English speaker, do a promo that people can understand, or like, oh, I don't understand what they're saying because their accent's so thick or whatever. But am I wrong? Or
figure it out. Or figure out someone to put them with that'll help them with the mouthpiece. Like the fact that Zelena and Andrade were put together in NXT, I don't think was a mistake. You know what I mean? I think they're all like, okay, we're going to need a Zelena for a character like Andrade to really fly.
Mm-hmm.
It just didn't go the whole way that you would expect. As we get close to wrapping it up here, Splinter Fox does say, after 20 years of watching wrestling, I really don't need commentary. Anyhow, I know what's going on, which I get. Like, I've been watching it for longer than 20, but I like what they bring to the table. I don't necessarily want it on mute. I can watch it on mute and get what's happening, but I like those little tidbits. What I like about Michael Cole is he's kind of a fact dude. He's going to tell you, oh, this hasn't happened since 2001. This person's had exactly this many things. There's many moments or minutes doing this. Like, I like those facts. That's one of my favorite parts about Rumble, is all the Rumble facts that you hear as it comes up. Oh, number 14. No one's ever won from 14. You know what I mean? Like, those little random things, I just get a kick out of, and I like. And I think a good commentator can bring that. And I like the discussion back and forth and the points of views. I like when they bring up something that I'm not thinking about, even though I get what's going on, especially after watching so long. Then you hear something from like a Beth Phoenix, and you go, oh my God, what a great point. I hadn't thought of that. Like, those are the moments I like. And I think good commentators can do that. And I think bad commentators just make me go, I guess I didn't need to listen to commentary tonight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's the difference.
No, like a good commentary, you said it well, as it's the backing to the action, but a bad commentary is just like somebody out of tune in an orchestra. Yeah. You said it better, though. I'm just shit at talking.
Totally makes sense. Spinner Fox does say Cole stats are totally wrong, though. It doesn't matter. They're the new kayfabe stats, man. I'm talking about canon stats. And he goes, don't get me started on Graves. All right, fine. And he says, Cole's calling everything a Blue Thunder Bomb. That's actually true. There was one match where he called like 2 or 3 different moves by Sami Zayn the Blue Thunder Bomb. I think he just loves saying Blue Thunder Bomb. That's his problem. Name. It's a great name for a move.
It is. But, sometimes do I want to hear Mauro do Mamma Mia like a billion times during a show? No.
But I do want to hear boss time every time. All right. Well, I think we're getting ready for last call, guys. We got a pay-per-view this Sunday. We're going to be doing a watch-along. Me, Bishop, GR Lunar, famed from the chat, going to be doing WrestleMania Backlash this Sunday. A little watch-along. So give us the follow, give us the like, do the subscribes, do all the things so you can make sure you don't miss it. Producer, you got something you want to say?
Abram he said best commentator Dusty Rhodes.
Best commentator is Dusty Rhodes? How often does Dusty Rhodes commentate? You talking about promo?
He did for FCW.
One and done.
Oh, that's true. He did it for FCW. Yeah, one and done.
No, he
Let's
didn't.
see. Shirtless, eating wings, live.
Yeah, I love Dusty. I don't think he'd be great on commentary. Like, he's great on a promo.
No,
I
he
do
was
not
pretty-
think.
He was pretty good. He was pretty decent.
He probably.
I could only understand every third fucking word.
No, you
Yeah,
did. It was fine because they were also putting people to do, like some of the wrestlers to do commentary with him. So,
That's
to
funny.
kind of test them out or whatnot. But no,
I bet you it was
enjoyed
kind of Vince McMahon-esque with a lot of whoa, what was that thing?
Whoa,
I don't know, but it
whoa.
looks
Yeah.
great. You know what I mean?
Oh,
I bet
what
you
a
it was all of
maneuver.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a maneuver!
Mhm.
Bobby the Brain was good. Bobby the Brain was so funny, and when you go back and listen to it, half of what's funny is the fact he said that on TV.
Heyman. Oh yeah, Heyman WrestleMania 17. Favorite commentary. Just
So
him and
good.
JR. Him giving JR shit. JR working with him. The best to me.
That's a good point. Good point. Swin Fox does say, no, I don't want to hear that ding dong hello, which is also a good point. The greatest rivalry in all of wrestling right now is Bayley versus Michael Cole. Book it. Can't wait for that grudge match, the death match, as it were, probably. Lunar does say that it's going to be shirtless eating wings live on Sunday for WrestleMania Backlash. So, guys, join us for the chat. Join us for a drink. It doesn't matter what you're drinking. It matters who you're drinking with. And that's going to be us.
Yo.
Drink with us. Anything. Anything at all. Drink ranch dressing if you're Lunar. He's going to have a whole
Ew.
quart.
That's
Oh,
disgusting.
he'll do it. What?
That's
He's got
delicious.
wings. What is he supposed to do? What do you want him to do?
It's
Drink blue
disgusting,
cheese?
it's
It's awful.
fat-free. Whoa! Don't knock blue cheese.
Oh,
But
man.
drinking
Good point.
the ranch? No.
There's ranch flavored soda.
Ew, no. Oh,
not
God. God, no.
What? That's true. All that's true.
Yeah.
Guys, we gotta get. He says it's for the content. Lunar makes a good point. Maybe if we get enough subs during the watch along, he'll drink a pint of ranch. Just right before we
Don't
turn
make
off
me
the camera,
go
so he
and-
can run and spit it out.
No, you have to swallow it because don't make me go and just give people subs.
Yeah, can't just be throwing out subs. All right, guys, let's wrap it up. Any final words from Klump?
Words.
That is at Crybaby Klump on Twitter.
Follow me on Twitter, Crybaby Klump. I'm not doing shit, but you can follow me. Take Rolexes
Hell
and
yeah.
whatnot. Happy holidays.
Amanda, any final words?
Take it over.
Wow, I have to follow that great exit. Man, damn, I don't know what to say, but
tough one.
words. So, yep, bitch your style. So, you guys can find me at Twitter and Instagram at Miss Amanda Jane with a Y. And feel free if you want to send me condolence gifts or, thirst trap photos of Ricky Starks on Twitter.
Oh,
That'll make
good
my
point.
day.
Good point.
Mhm.
Send them on through. Send them on through. Sprinter Fox,
Not to
final
Ricky
words
Stark.
himself.
What? Wait, not?
Not to Ricky Stark, to Amanda.
No, to me.
To Amanda.
Not to Ricky
Of Ricky.
Starks. No.
Yeah, no.
No.
Yeah, no.
I want
Splinter
free
Fox's
sub.
final words is done sucks, ding dong hello, prove him wrong. That's what I
Prove him
say. What?
wrong.
Prove him wrong.
Can't be seen on Restream chat. So
To the moon.
Oh, yeah?
only Twitch.
Yeah, he's been. Guys, we are Wrestling on the Rocks. That's Klump. That's Amanda. We got producer over here. We are at WOTR the show. You can find us at WrestlingOnTheRocks.com. Come back on Sunday for our watch along, our drink along with your wrestling buddies or drinking buddies. That is us. We will be back after that for your regularly scheduled Tuesdays and Thursdays for episode 1. All 3 days. Come back next time for episode 1, guys. Cheers. That's last call.
Hey, producer lady here. Thanks for tuning in. Continue to support us or buy us a drink by following and putting the I in subscribe on Twitch. Or subscribe and review our podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to us. Cheers!
I would never have a drink with wrestling on the rocks.